What if Naruto ran away from Konoha and went to the Kumo village? What if Naruto instead wanted to be the RAIKAGE and had a harem with Yujito, Samui, and Fo? Strong and smart Naruto. Now let's begin. Chapter 1. Run Naruto. Kuruma yelled as his best friend and host was being chased by a mob. It was his 6th birthday, and every year this happens. Kuruma was loyal to Uzumaki's. They never sought out power and were so peaceful. His host, Naruto, was the last of his clan, and Kuruma would do anything to protect him. Kid, I'm going to send some chakra through you. Run out the gate. They won't chase you there. Hi, Kuruma. Naruto replied and took off with enhanced speed, thanks to the fox's chakra. Soon Naruto made it to the outer gate of the village and leapt over it. After that, he ran to a tree and jumped into it. The villagers were still behind the gate and started to cheer that the village was safe from the demon. Naruto relaxes on a branch. Thank you, Kuruma. The Kyuubi nodded. No problem, kid, but I think you should leave the village. It's not safe here. But where should I go? And what about Gigi, Ayam-chan, and Mr. Ramen Guy? Naruto asked. He loved those three. They cared for him the most, and he didn't want to separate from them. What about Hibi-chan? Kuruma felt sad for his host, but he knew Naruto wouldn't grow here. Humans can hold a grudge, and he didn't want Naruto to become a hateful person like the Uchihas because of the village. The life of a Jinchuriki. Wait, that's it. Kid, how would you like to make a lot of friends? My siblings are spread across the nation. One of them is where you should go. But what about food? Kid, you are going to be a shinobi in the future. I'll teach you how to hunt, some chakra exercises, how to fight, and a certain clone jutsu known by someone I once knew. Kuruma offered. A week and a half passed since Naruto left Konoha. He was standing at a side of the biggest tree he had ever seen in his life, and a waterfall to match the size. Naruto learned the shadow clone jutsu, but when he first used it, he produced 60 clones and suffered from chakra exhaustion, so Kuruma had to refill his reserves. Naruto was close to mastering tree climbing, and he started hunting rabbits and squirrels. Kuruma also noticed when Naruto was hunting animals, he was sensing chakra around him and also life force. Kuruma knew how some Uzumaki's sensing ability and other possible bloodlines and abilities Naruto could possibly have in the future. The boy will surpass his ancestors. Kuruma will guarantee it. Halt. Naruto turned to guard who came from behind a waterfall. Kid, tell them your parents were killed by a nin and you're an orphan. If they ask what village, say you're from the wave. A kid? What are you doing here and where's your parents? The guard asked. Naruto looked down in sadness and started to cry. I don't have any parents, they died. The Taki guard's heart broke. I have nowhere to go. We were headed to Konoha, but we were attacked by a masked man and my parents told me to run. So I ended up here. The guard bent down and put a hand on his shoulder, causing Naruto to flinch. Please don't kill me. Naruto mumbled. I'm not going to kill you. Come with me and welcome to Taki. The guard instructed. Naruto nodded and followed. They went through the waterfall and Naruto was amazed. The guard chuckled. What's your name, kid? I'm Naruto Uzumaki. Naruto answered. Taki, I thought we were heading to Kumo. I think I made a wrong turn when we left Wave. Kuruma said. Well, Naruto-san, I hope you like our village, but if you see a girl with mint-colored hair, try to stay away from her. She's dangerous. Kurama's eyes what it sounded like. The guard talked. It sounded like how the adults talked about Naruto. Kid, ask him where the girls stay to avoid her. Kurama ordered. Is there a certain area I should stay away from to avoid her? Naruto asked. Well, since she was kicked out of the orphanage, she stays under the trunk of our center's huge tree. There's also a lake there, the guard answered. Naruto nodded. Kid, this girl might be a Jinchuriki like you. If she's treated the same, my friend could be sealed inside. Kuruma asked. The guard led them to Shibuki, the leader of Taki Mansion. Shibuki-sama. The guard called, knocking on the door. Come in. The guard led Naruto to Shibuki quarters, who was sitting behind a desk. There was a girl with mint hair standing next to him. The Chunin guard looked at the girl and scolded a bit, and Naruto recognized the look all too well. He looked up at his guard and saw Naruto. Who's this young man? The guard turned to his leader and bowed. Hi, this is an orphan. His name is Naruto Uzumaki, and his parents were killed by a man in a mask. I found him outside our village. Shibuki nodded and waved off the guard to leave. Hello, young man. How did you end up here? My name is Shibuki. Hi there, my name is Naruto, and Naruto gave the same story he gave the guards, causing Shibuki to frown. I'm sorry to hear that. You can stay here as long as you want. Shibuki said, but noticed his attention was on Fu. Shibuki smiled. Naruto-san, this is Fu. Naruto approached the girl and stuck out his hand. Hi, wanna be friends? Fu opened her eyes in surprise, then slowly looked down. You don't want to be my friend? Everyone thinks I'm a monster. But I don't care what everyone says. Fu snapped her head at Naruto. I have no friends either, and I think you are a regular girl who could use one. Oh really? You'll be my friend? Fu asked hopefully. Better, we'll be best friends, Databeo. Naruto said with a foxy smile. Fu's smile grew wide and shook Naruto's hand. She responded, but as soon as they touched, they were standing on water with a green surrounding. Where are we? Naruto looked behind Fu and saw a cage. You were right, Kuruma. Fu tilted her head until she noticed the cage behind her new friends. A red slit I was seeing behind the cage. I see. Good for you, Naruto. I couldn't sense it behind the cage, but I'm glad you found a friend. Fu turned to Naruto with a shocked expression. You're the same as me? I guess so. Naruto responded, rubbing the back of his head. Wow, Kuruma. What are you doing here outside your domain? Naruto looked through the cage behind Fu and heard a buzzing. Naruto was squinting his eyes and saw a beetle. Komi-chan, who is this? Fu asked. This is my friend, the Kyubi. Kuruma, you didn't answer my question. Not that I'm happy to see you. Listen up. I hate to tell you this, but we were trying to go to Kumo. I'm still glad to see you. I gave the kit the wrong directions. Kuruma said. Fu looked at Naruto, and he nodded. Why are you trying to go to Kumo? Chome asked. Well, in the village the kit came from, he was treated like a plague. He was kicked out of the orphanage and was always attacked. No one would sell him food, and he was ignored. Kuruma explained. Chome looked at her host and thought about Fu. The same thing happened to her more or less. During the last war, Kushina and Minato encountered a Kumo Jinchuriki, and from what I learned from his comrades, they treated him like a hero. They were calling him Lord B. I was thinking the kit could go there and make friends. Can I go? I want to make more friends. Fu suddenly asked. It won't be easy. I don't think Shibuki will let you, regardless of how much of a coward he is. Chome said. I think we can use that. Kuruma said with a mischievous smirk. Naruto noticed and got excited. Are we going to play a prank? Naruto asked. Yes, and a great one. Outer world. Shibuki was looking at the two with a confused expression. They were quiet and staring at each other. Are you okay? Huh. Naruto and Fu responded by looking around. Nisan, I have something to tell you. What is it, Naruto? You see, me and Fu are the same. And as we get older, the bijou inside us will slowly take over unless we learn how to use their power. Shibuki started to panic. Kuruma smirked at the reaction. I actually made a wrong turn. I was trying to go to Kumo. I think Fu should come with me. Shibuki looked at Fu. What do you want, Fu? Honestly, I think you should go. You're treated wrong here, and to be honest, I'm sick of it. I never had the courage to do anything about it. It's okay. You tried your best. You were the only one who was nice to me, but I think I should go. Fu said with a smile. Shibuki nodded but frowned. But how do we get you there? Naruto raised his hand and suggested what Kuruma told him to do. In Kumo, the RAIKAGE was sitting at his desk finishing the paperwork after the damage Yugao, the two-tailed Jinchuriki, caused. They sealed the bijou into her, and it took a while to control. RAIKAGE-sama, a Chunin shouted, running in the room. What is it? I asked. We have a message from Taki to form an alliance. Really, what could they offer? Unless it's the hero's water, I don't care, not that we need it. I responded. It's better. They're offering the Jinchurikis of the Nanabai and Kyubi, the Chunin informed. A head shot up at the Chunin, shocked. Really, Kumo will possess 4 Jinchuriki. We'll be the strongest in the nation. Call B, Mabui, and Darui. We accept their proposal. To think we'll have 2 more Jinchurikis. A week later, B arrived with Mabui and Darui. B led the group to Shibuki Mansion, where he was waiting with the 2 kids. B smiled and approached the 3. Yo, it's nice to meet fellow Jinchuriki. You can call me the master of rap, Killer B. You have to be with the groove and understand my rhyme. I'm 8. Are you on board, Miss 7? And Fu tilted her head. You're weird. Naruto laughed. That was great. It's nice to meet you, Mr. 8. Darui smiled. The kid raps better than you, B-sama. Mabui, Chunin, looked at Naruto and smirked. He's a cutie. So did you bring the agreement scroll? B nodded and handed the Taki leader a scroll. He nodded and gave B a scroll, confusing the Jinchuriki. These are jutsus fo fu. They're water jutsus for when she become a shinobi. Naruto can learn from them as well. Cool. I guess we'll hit the road. 7, 9, it's time to go. The two kids nod and both ran to Shibuki and gave him a hug. Shibuki smiled and returned. Goodbye you two. Become very strong and remember, you are not just Jinchuriki. You're Fu and Naruto. Thanks for having me, Nisan. Naruto said. Thanks for looking after me, Oniai-chan. Fu said, both kids backing away. The group spoon left. Naruto was on Mabui's back and Fu on Darui's as they leapt through the trees. So, Naruto-kun, my name is Mabui of the Thunderstep. Do you have a last name? Naruto blushed at the suffix. Yeah, Naruto Uzumaki. Mabui's eyes widened. You're from the Uzumaki clan. That's awesome, I heard about them. They were super strong and knew a lot about seals. Well, I'm not sure. Yes, you are. I'll tell you about them later. Your mother's name is Kushina Uzumaki. Well, the QB says I'm from the Uzumaki clan and my mother was Kushina Uzumaki. I've heard of her. She was beautiful as she was dangerous. She decimated over 300 ninjas for threatening her home. I wish I could have seen her, Mabui said in awe. Watching her fight was out of sight, even though I'm the best. She still put me to a test. It was luck that I survived. The Hachibi kept me alive. B said. I have to admit, Uzumaki-san, your mother was amazing. She wielded a sword with such grace. Her mastery over water and Fuinjutsu was powerful. She was a SS rank shinobi. Darui said. Naruto smiled. I wish I met her even once. I'm an orphan, but it's good to hear stories. Naruto said quietly. Mabui nodded as they headed to Kumo. Hiruzen was looking through his crystal ball for his surrogate grandson. It's been a few weeks since he last saw the blonde, and he was worried. Where are you, Naruto-kun? Please be all right. Inu, Weasel, and Cat appeared in front of the leader kneeling. Hoki-sama, I have some info. Cat said. Report. Hiruzen ordered. Hi. It seems Naruto was kicked out of the orphanage 3 months ago and was living on the street. Hiruzen seethed. I was giving them money to take care of Naruto-kun, and he hasn't been there. Anything else? Hi. It seems like he might not be in the village. I sent my dogs to track him, and they smelled his scent outside the gate. I assume he was chased out of the village. Inu said in anger. He felt like he had failed his sensei's son. He wasn't in the village, and because of that, Naruto was gone. Hiruzen sighed and stood up. It's time the village knows what they did and who they did it to. I kept his heritage a secret, and the village believed Minato transformed the fox and not Naruto. If I had informed them earlier, things might have been different. I'm going to make the announcement, gather the villagers in front of the tower. After half an hour, the villagers gathered in front of the tower wondering what was going on, while some had a suspicion. Hiruzen on top of the tower with a grim expression. He gathered his wits before speaking. Hello, Konoha. I had a secret from you about Naruto Uzumaki, and now I regret to inform you he is gone. I'm not sure if he's alive or not, but it doesn't matter now that he's not here now because of how this village treated him. He might not come back. Now some of you might be thinking, no one cares about the demon and we're safe, but what you've done was committed an act worse than treason. I hid the identity of his parents and heritage from you thinking I would protect him from his parents' enemies until he was strong enough to defend himself, but I failed. Have any of you wondered where a boy appeared out of nowhere to be sealed and why Minato chose him? And just in case you think Minato transformed the Kyuubi into a boy, you're wrong. There's no jutsu that can force a transformation on another. Then where did he come from? A civilian asked. You see, only a very few people knew this, but Naruto was not the first Kyuubi Jinchuriki in the Leaf Village. In fact, he was the third. The Kyuubi has been in our village for over 100 years. The first was Mito Uzumaki Senju. The second was Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze. You see, the Uzumaki chakra consists of In chakra that can neutralize any form of chakra it touches. That's why Uzumakis are the only ones who could handle the Kyuubi massive chakra. Now you may be wondering, how did it escape? Well, you see, a female Jinchuriki seal weakens only one Pacific time. When she gave birth, to make sure the Kyuubi wouldn't escape, Minato made sure the seal was stable when Kushina gave birth, but something unfortunate happened. Someone found out about the secret and attacked Kushina and used her son as a hostage to get to her, ripping the Kyuubi out of her and taking control of it. The civilian gasped. What happened next? Some asked. She was best friends with Kushina, and she was desperate to know what happened to her son, which was some godson. The intruder infiltrated the village and summoned the QB within, so in retrospect, the QB wasn't at fault for the attack either. Minato fought him, but as strong as he was, there was no way he could beat a Bijou. Bijou are immortal, and the only way was to seal it away. That's where Naruto came in. Him being a Uzumaki was the only way to save the village, so Minato sealed him away in the boy, even though he didn't know about Uzumakis being the only ones to handle the burden. This caught everyone's attention. If he didn't know, why did he seal it in Naruto? A civilian asked. The civilians wonder the same thing. Well, what kind of Hokage would he be if he used somebody else's son but his own? Hiruzen said. Everyone's eyes widened and gasped. Some started to shout lies while others looked down in guilt. I know some of you don't believe me, but think about a couple things. 1. Why would I lie about it now that he's gone? 2. Why did Naruto have blonde hair and blue eyes like Minato? 3. Why would he just hypnotize the shinobi and not the civilians if he was the QB? After all, with his chakra, he could have killed everyone? 4. Why did he never respond to violence when attacked? If we were hypnotized, why didn't he command a shinobi to kill you civilians every time you attacked him? 5. Why did he cry? Why did he want friends? For 6 years he was here, and we're still alive. And if you still don't believe me, Hiruzen took out some documents and spread them across the village. There were multiple copies of Naruto's birth certificate and pictures of Minato and Kushina pregnant, holding a peace sign. This is her handwriting. Everyone turned their attention to Tsum. It even confirms that me and Mabuki is his godmother. He was their pup the whole time. I could have done, sob, something. Why didn't you tell us? Some said, breaking down in tears. Everyone was shocked. No one ever saw Tsum, the toughest woman in Konoha, cry. I'm sorry, Kushina-chan. Some repeated, kneeling on the ground. Hiruzen turned towards the village. I kept Naruto's heritage a secret to prevent IWA or Kumo getting to him. IWA holds a grudge towards Minato because of what he did to them in the last war, and Kumo attempted to kidnap Kushina to breed when she was a child. That's why I couldn't risk it, and it was my mistake, but not my only one. I shouldn't have released the boy's status as a Jinchuriki, and I shouldn't have been naive to trust the village. Because of your fear, there's a good chance he was taken by one of the other villages. Minato wanted his son to be seen as a hero and have a normal childhood. He never asks to be spoiled or anything. But your hatred and grudge blinded you. But we lost family that night. We were upset, a civilian said. I understand, but so have I. My wife died giving birth to Naruto. Some-chan lost some clan members, and the worst of it, Naruto-kun lost his parents that night. His father sacrificed his life for the village, and all he wanted was his son to be loved. Naruto had it worse than anyone in the village. What would Minato think if he was to find out about this? But he can't die. Minato's soul is trapped by the Grim Reaper for the price of using his power to seal the fox. You may believe what you want, but that's the truth. You should also thank Naruto. If he gave into his negative thoughts or committed suicide, the fox would have escaped. We should look for him, a civilian yelled. More started to agree. Hiruzen was happy they realized their mistakes, but he didn't think it would work. Then what? What if he doesn't want to come back? Remember, you overcharged him on everything, sold him rotten food, beaten him, kicked him out of places, and attempted to kill him. He probably fears you as you feared him. What if he found a new home and doesn't want to come back? Hiruzen said in a cold tone. We can try. Hiruzen turned to Tsum. I'll do anything to find the pup. I never attacked him, but I admit I never helped him. But I'll do everything in my power to find him and make it right. The crowd agreed. Hiruzen shook his head. I'll do everything in my power to find him, but I can't do this alone. If he comes back, things will change. Agree? Hiruzen asked. Hi, the crowd said. Hiruzen gave a soft smile, then frowned. Naruto-kun, I hope you're all right. Oh my Kami, Anko was right. And worst of all, Naruto was Sensei's son, a Jinjutsu mistress said. She remembered what she said to the blonde and was starting to feel guilty. B and his group arrived in front of the RAIKAGE store. B knocked on the door and they went in. Naruto and Fu saw looking at them. Fu was nervous, but Naruto was in awe. A man probably as strong as his Gigi was in front of him. Wow, you look strong, Aji-san. Everyone was godsmacked that the blonde called their leader uncle, while Fu was giggling. A smirked. Haha, I like you already, kid. I can tell just by looking at you that you're the son of my most respected rival. So why don't you introduce yourself? I'm Naruto Uzumaki, the strongest ninja ever, Naruto said. I respected the intro, already set a goal for himself. I'm Fu. I don't have a surname, but I'm going to be the strongest kunoichi ever. Fu said. Interesting. Why do you want to be strong? I asked. To protect my friends and my new home. Fu and Naruto said together. I nodded in approval and noticed Maboi, 14 and is the RAIKAGE's daughter, staring at Naruto in awe. Funny, she never showed interest in a guy. The Gaki might be special. Plus, he's an Uzumaki. I can send him B and Fu to the island to train till they are old enough to join the academy. Uzumakis are great in Fuinjutsu, Kenjutsu, Futon, and Suiton. B, I want you to take Fu and Naruto on the special island and train them. They should be ready when the academy starts. A ordered. Bro, what about Yugi Dash? She's fine. She conquered her hatred and she has Samui. I believe in her. You're training 2 Jinchurikis. You'll have a hard time as it is. B nodded. Good. Help these two. Just make them physically stronger and conquer their hatred. They're not ready to face their Bijou, but it should make it easier for them to use their chakra. I got it, bro. You can count on me, Killer B. A sigh. His brother raps were annoying. Just go. B nodded and took the kids with him. After a few days of travel, B made it to the Jinchuriki temple. B turned to his students and smiled. All right, listen up, yo. We're going to build your muscle. So you two will hustle, and the training will make you feel pain. But you will have a lot to gain. Nothing can go wrong, cause you'll be strong. Just follow me, the almighty Killer B. What? Fu asked. Basically, he said, listen to him, and he'll make us stronger. Naruto said. B smiled at Naruto. Yo, got my rhymes, but now we are out of time. Time to train, no pain, no gain. Please stop raping. Fu begged. B giggled and nodded. Fine, for our training. We are going to be doing training exercises like standard workouts, chakra control practices, and finding a taijutsu style for you too. Also, you'll learn of your affinity. I'm going to strengthen your body and mind. You'll need to be strong to use your partner's chakra. We have 2 years, so let's get to work. Anko just arrived from her month-long vacation. She never had a break from interrogation and completing missions, trying to get promoted. She wasn't looking forward to heading back to Konoha, but mostly seeing her friends, Hana, Yugao, and her special friend Naruto. She had rescued the blonde from a mob, and they naturally bonded, being outcast and all. She had to apologize to him for not seeing him in a month. He was already afraid of people, and she was worried he might be more reserved. She decided to create an entrance. Hiruzen was reading his book, giggling like a schoolgirl when something burst through the window. He sighs. Anko was due back today, and he had a feeling this was her. He looked up and saw Anko landed in front of him with a big smile. Anko Mitarashi, returning from a vacation. Welcome back. Can you stop breaking the windows? Hiruzen asked. Nope, it makes my entrances better. Can I be reinstated? I need to go. I owe a blonde fox some ramen for being gone too long. Anko asked. Hiruzen paled. He forgot. Anko wasn't here for the announcement. Anko, there is something you need to know about Naruto. Hiruzen started, gaining the snake user's attention. Outside the tower, everyone was minding their own business when they suddenly felt thunderous killer intent out of nowhere coming from the tower. What? He's been gone for almost a month and no one found him. Anko seethed. Hiruzen was sweating a bit. Anko K.I was higher than his own, and he knew what this woman was capable of when she was pissed. Damn this village. Anko turned around and was about to storm out the room. Anko, where are you going? Hiruzen asked. I'm going to find him. Naruto-kun is a survivor, and I know he's alive. He's alone. We're alone. I won't abandon him. Anko said without turning around. What about your friends? Yugao-san, Hana-san, and Kurei Dash. Hiruzen paused when Anko ki flared. Anko calmed down and breathed. Kurenai and I aren't friends at the moment. Anko said in a quiet tone. When I saved Naruto from a mob, I took him to a dango shop for food. You should have seen him eat. The Gaki hasn't eaten in days apparently. When Yugao and Kurenai walked in, Yugao greeted Naruto-kun like a normal person, but Kurenai. Flashback. Slow down, Foxy-kun. Don't go choking. Anko said to Naruto. I am sorry. No one would give me any food. Thank you for being nice to me. Naruto said. Anko giggled and patted Naruto's head. No problem. What are friends for? Anko replied. Friends? We're friends. Naruto asked, looking hopefully. Sure. I can use a friend as funny as you. You're stuck with me. Anko said. Naruto stared at the snake user and glomped her in a hug. Anko gave a rare warm smile and returned the hug. Naruto pulled away and returned to eat. Well, hello, Anko-chan. Anko turned to the source of the voice and saw Yugao standing there smiling. And who's the cutie? Yugao knew who he was from her Umbu job, but she acted the part. Anko smiled and hugged Naruto, rubbing their cheeks together. This adorable fox is Naruto-kun. He's my new friend. Yugao nodded and sat next to Naruto. He flinched a bit until she ruffled his hair. Don't worry, I'm not going to hurt you. You know I wouldn't mind being friends with a cutie like you. Really? Yay, I have more friends. Naruto cheered. What's with all the? Kurenai asked to walk into the stand but paused when her eye landed on Naruto. Soon her mind started picturing the Kyuubi stepping on her father. She glared at the blonde, causing him to flinch. What are you doing here? Leave. Anko gave Kurenai a confused look. Kurenai? Stay quiet. You boy leave. This place isn't for the likes of you. And you try to take advantage of my friends. If you don't leave now. Kurenai threatened. Naruto didn't give her a chance to finish and ran crying. Kurenai sighed and turned to her friends. Sorry about that. Anko, you should be careful. She didn't get to finish when Anko grabbed her by the throat. What was that? How can you treat a kid like that and easily dismiss it? Anko said, glaring at the Jinjutsu mistress. Kurenai returned the glare. How could you endanger us by hanging around him? It's not like I attacked him. I just told him to stay away from you for your own safety. Safety or your own fear. The kid is 5 years old. Do you know what that means? Anko asked. Kurenai shook her head. Anko tossed her to the ground. 5 years without no one dying. 5 years without any sort of destruction or any massacre. You think he would want revenge for all the attacks? He can't do anything because the Yondaime weakens him. Kurenai retorted. Really? So you know what technique the Yondaime used? Tell me, what's it called and how does it work? Anko asked. Kurenai was quiet. Honestly, she still thought the boy was the fox reincarnate spirit. The fact it disappeared and the blonde appeared out of nowhere made sense to her. Let me guess, you think the fox turned to the boy? Kurenai was snapped out of her thoughts and turned to Anko. Why a boy? Why not an adult or another demon form? Why stay in that form for 5 years receiving torture and not transform? I don't know why. Kurenai answered honestly. Exactly. You just believe what everyone tells you even though 90% of the people here are dumbass who know nothing of the shinobi arts. You let your emotions take control of you and justified hurting a kid as justice because of your misguided belief. I'm disappointed in you, Yui-san. When Kurenai heard Anko call her that, her heart broke. I'm going to find the Gaki and protect him. If you try to hurt him, you'll end up in the hospital. This is your only warning. Flashback end. Hiruzen looked down in guilt. It's my fault. If I hadn't told everyone Naruto's secret, he would have been here. Everything would have. It's not your fault. Hiruzen looked at Anko. You could have done things different, but the way the villagers act isn't something you could control. You can only try to do things better. Naruto-kun is alive. I know he is, and we'll see him again one day. Hopefully soon. Now if you excuse me, I'm going to get some dangos and sake. Fine, you're dismissed and Anko. Thank you. Anko gave the Hokage a nod and proceeded to her favorite place. Kurenai wasn't feeling well. Ever since the realization of the blonde Jinchuriki, Kurenai was feeling foolish. She prides herself of being a great kunoichi, smart, strong, and looking underneath. She let her fear and hatred take over, treating a kid like a monster when he just wanted a companion. She walked in the dango stand and saw Anko at a table eating some dangos. Here goes, Anko-chan. Anko looked up and saw Kurenai. I don't have time for this. Anko mumbled. Anko-chan, how have you been? Kurenai greeted me nervously. Fine. I just learned that the only person who understood me left the village because idiots like you. Anko sneered. Kurenai flinched at the tone and looked down in shame. About that, listen. I was wrong. I was angry about my father's death and took it out on an innocent kid. I let my anger take control of me, and I wanted to say I'm sorry. Anko was staring at her friend then sighed. I want to forgive you, but I'm not. Because of you and many others, Naruto-kun is gone. I don't know if he's all right. The only way I'll forgive you is if I find him alive and well. Kurenai looked down in shame. I understand. I'm here for you. Kurenai said, but Anko responded by downing another shot. Naruto, I promise I'll find you for Anko's sake. Kurenai thought. She was determined to find the blonde and make things right. All right, listen up. Since we three are Jinchuriki, we got more chakra than most. So while we train, I'll be your host. We will work on our chakra until our control is fine. Understand, Miss 7 and Mr. 9? He said. He brought the two kids to the Jinchuriki temple and forest. What? Fu asked confusingly. I'm going to teach you how to control your chakra. Then you and your bijou come up with a taijutsu style. I'm going to train you in shuriken throwing, a few low-level ninjutsu, and stamina exercises. As a Jinchuriki, using your bijou chakra will exhaust you. Once the basics are done, I'll teach you to wield a weapon or two since every Kumo nin uses one. Do you understand? Hi, sensei. Both Fu and Naruto responded. Knock asterisk, come in. A said, when the three Jinchurikis walked in. A smiled and leaned back in his chair. So, how was 4 years on the island? It was fun, Aji-san. I wish we could have stayed there longer. We could have got so much stronger. Naruto said. A chuckle. True, but the academy starts in a few hours, and I thought it would be good for you to make some friends. Plus, it would have been unfair for Yujito if you trained even more than she did. The why reason I allowed was because your bijus are stronger. A thought to himself. Really? I can make more friends? Naruto-kun, we have to go. Fu said excitedly. Fine, let's go. It could be fun, Naruto said. Before that, Naruto, I want to tell you something. Do you have any idea who your father is? I asked. Naruto gave a small smile. Hi, I know. Kuruma told me. Well, good. I would be honored if you use both your parents' names. I respect both of them, and I feel it would be right if you would use them. I said. Naruto nodded. Yeah, I would love to. I nodded in approval. Good to hear, B. Take them to get some supplies, and then to the academy. Can't have our new students be late. You got it, bro. Come on, you two. Let's get this show on the road. B said, leading his two Jinchuriki out. All right, class. We have 2 new students joining us. AI, the Kumo instructor said to her class. Please welcome Fu and AI gasps in surprise when she reads the next name. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. The class started to whisper when he eyed the blonde. He's kind of cute. Wonder if he's dating that mint hair girl. Isn't Namikaze the name of the yellow flash? Most of the girls said. Sammy eyed Naruto. She had a thing for strong men, but a name doesn't make anyone strong. Hopefully he's not a joke like these other boys. Sammy thought before turning to her friend. What do you think, Yujito? Potential new friends. I don't care. We're not here to make friends. But if they are strong, I'll have to test them. Yujito said. You won't have to worry about friends with that attitude. We're people too, Yujito. Don't isolate yourself. Yujito gave her friend a look of disbelief. You're the only one who thinks that. Everyone else sees me as a freak, a monster, or a nuisance. Yujito said coldly. Sammy shook her head and faced forward. Naruto and Fu walk up to the row the 2 blondes were on and see 2 extra seats. Excuse, would it be cool if we sat here? Naruto asked. All the girls, which confused the 2 Jinchurikis. He's going to sit next to the freak and ice princess. They're going to hurt him. Naruto-kun, don't. The girl with the ponytail is dangerous. I would listen to them. Naruto and Fu turned to Yujito, who was glaring at them. You don't want to sit next to me, or you won't have any friends. Sammy frowned and turned to the new students. Don't listen, it'll be cool if you sit here. Just don't bother us during class or interfere with our studies, and you'll be fine. My name is Sammy, by the way. Sammy said and elbowed Yujito. Yujito narrowed her eyes at Sammy, but it was returned. The 2 stared at each other for a while, but Yujito gave in. Yujito and I there. Hi, I'm Fu. I want to be friends. No. Yujito responded. Fu looks like someone crushed her soul. Naruto saw this and gritted his teeth. What's your deal? She just wants to be friends. Naruto asks. Yujito shifted her eyes towards Naruto. We're not here to make friends. We are here to be ninjas for our village. If she wants friends, go somewhere else. Kitten, you need to open up. Make some friends. I'm sorry for what I did, but don't do this. Neither of us are weapons. We have emotion and don't bottle yours up. Matatabi said. Stay out of it, it's better this way. No one will get hurt. Besides, those 2 will run away once they learn about you. Yujito responded with sadness. We'll be your friends. Naruto turned to the front of his desk, and Omoy was holding out 2 lollipops. Name's Omoy here. A sucker for you and your friend, the white-haired boy said. Fu took hers quicker than Naruto. Karui, my name, the redhead said, offering a fist bump. Fu followed through with the fist bump. Don't worry about these 2. Me and Omoy tried talking to these 2, but Sammy won't be friends with anyone unless Yujito does, and Yujito had denied us. Speak for yourself, Sammy said. It's true. Because you're the best kunoichi doesn't mean you can boss me around. Karui retorted. Naruto's eyes widened. She's the best. Naruto asked. She's the best overall. Nobody, boy or girl, ever beat her in a fight. Yujito is not far behind. Omo explained. Samui looked at Naruto and Fu to analyze their reaction. Most people get scared to fight her once they hear this. Naruto smirked. Sweet, I can't wait to fight you now. Naruto said with a predator grin. Samui was shocked and smiled a little. Wow, you're strong but you can't beat Naruto-kun. He's definitely stronger. Fu said with confidence. Samui turned to Naruto, hardening her gaze. Really? We'll have to see. Yujito looked at the two. She wouldn't openly admit it, but she wanted to be friends with the two, but she didn't want to be betrayed again. It's been 4 months since Naruto joined the academy. To the surprise of everyone, except Fu, Naruto and Samui were equal in terms of skills and knowledge. In fact, they were the only students to have a perfect score in everything but Genjutsu. Samui believed Genjutsu was cowardly and Naruto didn't have enough control to perform them. Samui had Naruto beat in Kenjutsu, but speed and Taijutsu, Naruto was superior. They form a rivalry, but Samui still refused friendship until Yujito accepted it, to Naruto irritation. Naruto and Yujito were always at each other's throats. When he asked Fu why she didn't give up on her, Fu responded with, everyone deserves a friend or two. Fu also said there was something about her that drew her in. Naruto felt it too, but he was just too stubborn to acknowledge it. Naruto became best friends with Omoi, while second to Fu, and they had some Kenjutsu rivalries. Naruto only used borrowed sword sense. He didn't have a sword he was comfortable with. Fu was best friends with Karui, while Karui was always hot-headed. When it came to Fu, she was calm and cheerful. Karui thought Fu was an adorable sister. Yujito was pretty much the same towards the other two Jinchurikis. She felt a pull from the others. She didn't know what it was. A familiar feeling, but she always ignored it. She was impressed by how strong the two were. She assumed they would be a joke with cheerful demeanor, but she was tied in strength with Fu. The weird thing was that Fu's personality changed when she fought, just like Naruto's. They become focused and determined, even when Fu loses to her. She goes back to her cheerful nature, and the sad part was that Fu's cheerfulness was drawing her in more. Naruto had made some fangirls and Fu, alongside Samui, made some male worshippers, Fu being innocent and needed to be protected. Samui being badass and hot, drawing in some soon-to-be perverts. As of the moment, the class was going to have another Taijutsu match. Alright, now Fu versus Yujito. To the ring. Both Jinchurikis made it to their respective sides. Good luck, Yugi-chan. Fu said. Don't call me that. Yujito said. Some kids were mumbling about the freak being rude. Naruto knew Yujito was being rude and she was strong, but these kids were calling her a freak. In fact, they had been doing it for months, but it didn't bother her at all. What was the reason? The only conclusion was that she was a Jinchuriki. He asked Kuruma and the fox said that it was possible, but he couldn't sense outside the seal. Plus, he assumed B would have told him and Fu. What else could have been? Alright, this will be a taijutsu fight, and it's over when I say. Ready, begin. Yujito charged forward towards Fu and went for a roundhouse kick. Fu bent backwards to dodge. Yujito saw this and went for a swipe kick, but Fu jumped in the air above the blonde and corrected herself. Fu went for an axe kick. This time Yujito blocked it and grabbed her leg and swung her towards the ground. Fu used her hand to catch herself and threw a kick towards Yujito's chest, causing the blonde to release the mint girl. They both stood still and charged each other, exchanging blows. Fu mostly dodged and kicked as Yujito blocked and threw punches. Who do you think will win? Omoi asked. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Fu. Yujito is getting frustrated, and it will soon cause her to waver since her desire to win is greater. Fu is more focused and patient. She prepares for anything. Yujito is stronger, but she has been annoyed by Fu for a while, and I think it'll cause problems. What's Yujito's problem? I wish I could tell you, but that's her secret. Anybody who speaks will get hurt by Samui. Not that it's a big deal. Karui and I don't care, but she doesn't trust no one. Omoi said. Match over. Naruto and Omoi turned to see Yujito on the ground. Fu let out a breath and smiled. She lent a hand to Yujito. Need help? Good fight. Whatever. Yujito said, smacking her hand away. Naruto had it and walked up to Yujito, grabbing her by the collar. What is your deal? Why are you so stubborn? At first, I didn't care, but Fu sees something in you, and frankly, I think you should drop the attitude. Yujito narrowed her eyes. Why should I listen to you? If you want to know, I'll tell you. I don't trust you. You and Fu having fun with your friends being normal. You have no idea what it feels like. To be different, to be alone, and to be glared at. Treated differently for something you can't control. Yujito's glare softened when Naruto started to shake. You think I don't know? He threw Yujito on the ground, and when she looked up, Naruto was crying. I know, alright, in Konoha. Every year I have been attacked on my birthday since I remember. I got kicked out of stores. I never knew my parents. Parents told kids to ignore me. I was kicked out of the orphanage after I turned 5 and lived on the streets. I was alone. I was called a monster and people hated me. So don't talk like you know me, Naruto said before taking off. Fu was about to explode until she heard the other students calling Yujito a monster and a freak. Yujito was crying, but not because of the insults. It's because Naruto understood and he was dealt with worse than her. She assumed because his father, he was treated better, but by his eyes, she could tell he wasn't lying. Why? Yujito looked up at Fu, who was looking at her with a saddened look. Why does everyone here look at you like a freak? Fu asked. You hurt Naruto-kun, so I want to know. Yujito didn't answer. She didn't know what to do. She has the Nibi seal in her. It's in her gut. One of Naruto fangirls yelled in rage. Yujito's eyes widened and looked at Fu, who didn't say anything. Fu-san, you should stay away from her. Fu did something that surprised everyone and hugged Yujito. Before Yujito could say anything, Fu pulled back and smiled. I guess I should reintroduce myself. My name is Fu. Fu stood and stretched out her hand. Jinchuriki of Nanabai, nice to meet you. Fu said, shocking everyone. Samui for the first time, mouth dropped. Yujito's eyes widened with tears coming out. What? You mean we're the same? Fu channeled chakra to her stomach and a seal appeared. Yujito saw this, stood up and hugged the girl. Matatabi, did you know? Yujito asked her tenant. No, because of the seal, I couldn't sense it. But you now have a true friend. Chome is really nice, she's a lot of fun. Matatabi replied. Yujito nodded and pulled back from Fu. I'm sorry, I just didn't want you to be hated because of me. It wouldn't have been fair. Fu shook her head. No, I should have known by how you were treated that you were a Jinchuriki. So should have Naruto-kun. Yujito tilted her head in confusion until it struck her. You mean? Fu smiled and nodded his head. That's right, Naruto is a Jinchuriki too. He has, you know what, I'll let him tell you. Samui approached the two. Why Yujito? I guess you're not alone. Pretty cool to have people who can understand you. Yujito looked at her best friend and nodded. Fu turned to the class and frowned. You heard that. I'm a Jinchuriki too, and so is Naruto-kun. So go ahead and hate me if you want. I don't care. But think about this, have we ever hurt you? Have we ever attacked you? No, you're the monsters. Always making us feel different. It's not fair. We just want friends and to have fun, but you all just treat us like freaks. Back in my village, I had no friends. No one would feed me when I was hungry and my parents died when I was 3. Still ask yourself, since I've been here, have I ever attacked any of you? Haven't I always been nice? And Naruto-kun, are you girls going to hate him too? He treated everyone fairly and defended me. Does that make him a monster? Fu asked everyone. No one said anything. I'm still your friend. Everyone turned to Karui. I think it's kinda cool. There's no way someone as adorable as you can be a monster, Fu. Naruto's my buddy, funny guy. There's no way some like Naruto is a monster. Yujito, if you need a friend, you have one in me anytime. Omoi said, tossing her a lollipop. I'm sorry, I'll be your friend. And me? Me too. I will. Many of the class said. Yujito couldn't believe this. The class was apologizing to her and wanted to be her friend. Sure, I don't mind. Yujito said, trying to act tough. Fu gave Yujito a victory hug. Can I be your friend, Fu? Samui asked. Fu stared at the girl, then pulled her into the hug. Sure. I'll be your friend, Samui-sama. Me too, Samui-chan. Please be my friend. A lot of the boys volunteered. Fuck off, Samui said in a cold tone. All the guys backed off. My only friends are Yujito, Fu, Omoi, Karui, and Naruto-kun. The four-mentioned looked at Samui, who was blushing when she said Naruto's name. She turned to them and glared. What? Nothing. Does she like Naruto/Kun? They thought. Fu took Yujito's hand and ran towards the academy exit. Fu, where are we going? To find Naruto-kun. He doesn't know you're a Jinchuriki. Sorry, Samui-chan, Karui-chan. This is something we have to handle. Fu said, dragging Yujito. It's cool, good luck. Samui responded. Karui nodded, and turned to Samui with a smirk. Naruto-kun, Karui asked. Shut it, he's mine, Samui responded. We'll see, Karui said with a blush. Omoi chuckled. Samui, Karui, and Fu Naruto, you are lucky. Naruto was on top of a mountain, looking over the village. He felt guilty about snapping at Yujito and leaving. He needed to calm down. Yujito had her own problems, and she was alone. He should have seen the mask she was wearing. I need to apologize, knowing the class. They're probably giving her a hard time. Even at a time like this, you still worry about others. How are you feeling, kid? Kuruma asked. Pretty shitty. She was already having a hard time and now, I think I made it worse. Naruto answered. Things will get better. I have a sense for these things. Kuruma responded, trying to cheer up his host. Naruto nodded. Naruto-kun. Naruto turned around and saw Fu and Yujito. Hey Fu-chan, Yujito. Listen, I'm sorry for yelling at you. You already had it rough, and I probably made it harder for you. Naruto said, surprising Nibi host. No, I was an ass. I thought keeping you away from me would help you make friends and maybe not feel what I felt. Yujito said as she and Fu sat on different sides of Naruto. I learned that you were a Jinchuriki like me. Naruto's eyes widened and turned to Fu. Why did you tell her wait? Like you? Yujito nodded. That's right. Wait. Fu said, cutting them off. How about we just go and meet the Bijou? Fu said, putting her hand forward. Naruto nodded and put his hand on top of Fu's. The two turned to Yujito and nodded. Yujito followed suit and put her hand on top of Naruto's and blushed. It feels warm. She thought until she was in a white domain. Where are Kuruma-kun? I can't believe you here. If I knew the blonde stud was your host, I would have told her to ride him ages ago. Matatabi said, pressing her against her cage. Mata-chan, you were here, my love. Sorry I couldn't sense you. These seals were preventing it. Kuruma said, clawing his cage. What's going on? Naruto asked. Well, you see, Kuruma and Matatabi are mates per se, and it's been a long time since they saw each other. Chome said. I thought all Bijou were brother and sisters. Fu said. No, we have no blood, so we can't really be related. Even if we were, we're demons. Human rules don't apply to us. Chome said, then turned to Yujito. It's nice to meet you, Yujito-san. You gave Fu a hard time, but now I know why. You shouldn't worry about what others think. Please, from now on, open up. Don't isolate yourself. You're a strong girl with a bright future, but don't spend it alone. Yujito nodded and smiled. It's nice to meet you. You're right, I'm sorry. Fu has been kind to me, and I promise I'm going to be best friends with Fu and hopefully Naruto. You better. The group turned to Kuruma. The kid was worried about you, even though he wouldn't openly admit it. He wanted to help you, but he got his stubbornness from his mother. Kuruma, is there a way to make Yujito happy? Or Kuruma, Yujito still looks upset. Maybe I should play a prank to make her smile. You were acting cold, and that's coming from a being of hatred. Yujito blushed and turned to Naruto, who was also blushing. You were worried about me? Damn, Baka Fox. Why do you have to tell her that? Naruto asked, face red. Yujito giggled and approached the Kyubi. Nice to meet you, Kyubi-sama. Kuruma nodded. It's good to see you smile. It suits you more. Kuruma commented. Yujito blushed at the praise. Naruto and Fu walked to Matatabi. Wow, you look amazing. Naruto commented. And so cute. Fu added. Ah, you're a pretty little thing yourself, Fu-chan. And you, Mr. Handsome, sorry about what Yujito said. I'll make sure she repays you with some night service when she's older. Naruto was confused, while Yujito was blushing in embarrassment. Haha, same old Matatabi. Miss you, kitty. Same to you, Foxy. Both Bijou said to each other. I think we should go, Naruto said. Fu and Yujito nodded in agreement. Then the trio disappeared. Kuruma and Matatabi were still crying for each other. Naruto, Fu and Yujito were back on the mountain standing each other. That was fun. Yeah, listen, I'm sorry how I acted. To tell you the truth, I would love to be friends, Yujito said, rubbing her arms. Me too, Fu cheered. How this, we be a team and become the strongest in Kumo, Naruto said. I can get behind that, Yujito said. Me too. We'll be unbeatable, Fu said. Right, we even surpass Octopops, Naruto said. Yujito was confused. Octopops? Yeah, he's talking about B-san, Fu said. Wait, you know B-san? Yujito asked. Fu and Naruto nodded. Did he know you were Jinchurikis? The two nodded their heads again. Yujito was seething in anger. Naruto caught, and he started to get angry. And he didn't mention you to us? Fu realized what Naruto meant, and she was even angry. All this could have been avoided. Fu said. Naruto started to giggle evilly. I think we should punish the rapper. Fu and Yujito looked at the male Jinchuriki and started to giggle along with him. Huh. Karabi was hanging upside down from a woman's hot spring. He looked down and smirked. Out of sight. A lady looked up and screamed, "Pervert!" And Karabi begot the bead of a lifetime on his back with a note that said, "Payback is a bitch." For years later, Karabi was standing in the middle of Training Ground 1, surrounded by Fu, Yujito, and Naruto, 14 years old. All right, let's get this show on the road. One-tail cloak mode, go. Be instructed as a chakra cloak surrounded him. Hi. The three younger Jinchuriki responded before their bodies were covered with a red chakra cloak. Naruto and Yujito crouched on the ground, and Fu leapt onto a cliff. Remember, use techniques only unique to your partner. Be instructed. Three nodded, and no one moved. Fu jumped towards B and delivered a kick, which created a crater under B's foot. Taking advantage of the situation, Naruto and Yujito charged in at B like animals. Once they got close, Yujito turned and ran to the side. Naruto dragged his hand through the ground like a claw and swiped at the older Nin as Fu jumped away. B threw a punch at Naruto and created a shockwave when their attacks met, creating a dust cloud. When the dust cleared, Karabi and Naruto were in a struggle match. Yujito came from behind B and charged him. Seeing the attack coming, B tossed Naruto behind and towards Yujito. Yujito grabbed Naruto's arm and tossed back towards B and followed in pursuit. They began to repeatedly swipe attacks towards B. B smiled as he continued to block. Your teamwork is astounding, B said as he grabbed both their wrists and tossed them aside. Soon a chakra claw came from above and tried to grab B. The Hachibi host started to jump away and saw Fu using wings to fly and was controlling the claw from above. Soon two more came from the blonde Jinchurikis, making it almost twice as hard. B, using his superior speed, was able to maneuver around all the cloaked claws. All right, time for Chakra Cloak version 2. Show me what you three can do. Stop with the annoying rapping, the two females said. Naruto, Yujito, and Fu appeared in front of their tutor, and a red chakra cloak surrounded them as their skin began to peel. Naruto and Fu went from 1 tail to 4, while Yujito grew an extra 1. Soon their whole bodies turned to the chakra form of their bijus. Now, your partner's jutsu. Perform them. The three nodded. Kitsune Crimson Flare Bomb. Naruto charged a compressed ball with some fire and red chakra. Kabuto Mushi Scale Shower. Fu created a wind mixed with beetle scales. Nico Scorching Mouse Missile. Yujito started inhaling air. The three fired their attack towards B. B went 5 tails and was surrounded by bones. Charging Bull Lance. B used the bull skull and collided with the attack, creating an explosion and a powerful shockwave to match. All 4 of them flew backwards. Fu landed and was hanging from a tree branch. Naruto landed on the ground, face first, and Yujito landed on top of him. All 4 of them deactivated their chakra mode. Yujito-chan, are you okay? Naruto asked, as Yujito was sitting on top of him. Yeah, thanks Naruto-kun. Yujito said. You should grind on top of him. Your butt is on his back. He might not notice. Matatabi said. Yujito contemplated this and looked down at her new favorite blonde. She slowly started to move back and forth. Naruto's eyes widened. Is she? It feels soft. No, stop it. You're not a pervert. There's nothing wrong with being a pervert, as long as it's towards the woman you're interested in. The 5 girls around you are all attractive. Kuruma said. 5. You don't think I know about Mabui-chan. Some of the finest legs I have ever seen. Naruto blushed up a storm and Yujito wasn't helping. What are you doing? Fu said, approaching them. Both blonde blush and separately from each other. Now it's time to go see bro, so let's go. The 3 nodded and left with their sensei toward the RAIKAGE tower. As they were walking, a lot of girls were eyeing Naruto with hearts in their eyes. Fu pouted, while Yujito glared. At the same time, some boys were eyeing Fu and Yujito as well, causing Naruto to clench his fist. Killer Bee chuckled. The past 4 years were very eventful for the group of 6 friends. Naruto was the rookie of the year. Ever since he was able to open up Yujito, she has been a little more friendly to her class, but she had a special place for Samui and Fu, but a higher place for Naruto. Fu developed feelings for the blonde as well, and wasn't afraid to show her affection. Naruto and Omoy were like brothers, Naruto being the oldest since Omoy was always paranoid. Karui and Naruto's friendship was calm. Karui being a tomboy made it easier out of all the girls to hang out with since she didn't care for shopping and gossip. Samui was closer to Naruto out of all the non-Jinchuriki. She was always striving to beat him but unknown to him. She was attracted to him because she liked strong men and Naruto was able to get Yujito to open up. Fu got along with everyone. She called Karui Nasan and Karui accepted. When Omoy panics, Fu always finds it hilarious and tries to cheer him up. Yujito and Fu got along pretty well, and since the Matatabi host opened up, Fu had a tougher time beating her in their spars. Samui and Fu weren't really close since Samui's cool nature clashed with Fu's cheerful one, although when they spar, it was entertaining for the both of them. Fu developed feelings for Naruto as she got older, and she developed a bit of a B-cup breast. Yujito changed since she opened up. It took her a while to talk to the rest of the class since she still held a grudge against them. Naruto and Fu became her new best friends alongside Samui. Omoy and her got along well when he wasn't complaining. However, Karui always annoyed her when she tried to beat her in sparring. Just like Fu, she had developed feelings for Naruto since he and Fu helped open her up a bit. She had C-cup breast, but developed slightly better. They made it to the RAIKAGE office and saw Samui, Omoy, and Karui. Naruto, Fu, Yujito stand next to Samui. The three named nod and swalk next to the platinum blonde. Now, you six are the best in the academy. Instead of waiting the next 4 months to graduate, we decided to make Kumo top shinobi after yours truly. You know how Konoha has the Sannin and the Mist have their swordsmen. Well, 6 are going to represent us. B and Mabui are going to train the 3 Jinchuriki. You'll be known as Team Ragnarok. 1 status is up, but for now, you'll be Team B. Samui, you alongside Omoy and Karui will be known as Team Aegis. Badass, right? You'll be trained by Darui and I, but just like Naruto's team, you'll wait until your status rises. You'll be Team Darui. Naruto looked at Mabui and blushed. Mabui noticed this and smirked. She was happy she finally made Jonin status, and now she was going to be Naruto's sensei. Naruto became closer with Mabui when he started to learn Fuinjutsu. Mabui had a thing for smart guys and Naruto becoming Kumo's first seal master would definitely drive. I walked forward and handed the 6 chakra paper. Now this is chakra paper. This will let you know what your affinity is. I'm not going to explain. Just pour chakra into it. Omoy went first and poured chakra into his, and one side crumbled and the other got wrinkled. He had earth and lightning. Karui went next. One side got wrinkled and the other burned. She had lightning and fire. Samui went third and the whole paper was wrinkled and soaked. Darui cocked an eyebrow. We seem to have another storm release user. Darui said. That's unexpected, but great nonetheless. I commented. Samui nodded and stepped back. Fu went next and poured her chakra in. The paper turned into crystals, surprising the adults. Crystal release? But how? Mabui asked. That's cool. I'm going to be strong. Fu cheered. Everyone chuckled at the girl. Yujito went next. Her paper dried up. Scorch release. What's going on? 3 Kekiai Genkai. Mabui said. Naruto went last. When he poured chakra into his, it split. One side got wet and the other twisted, confusing the new Jinin. What does this mean? Naruto asked. It would seem you have thunder release. I have the same ability. Mabui said, surprised by the blonde. Naruto smiled. Well, I'll be counting on you, Mabui-chan. Naruto responded. Mabui blushed and smiled deviously. She had a perfect reason to spend time with Naruto, and she wasn't going to waste it. Sure, count on me. Mabui replied calmly. Samui, I'll help you with your bloodline as well. Darui offered. Cool, I appreciate it. Samui responded. Naruto and Samui, I would like to teach you my lightning armor. Karui and Omoy, once you increase your chakra level, I'll teach you the same. I said. The Jinin nodded. Now, go enjoy yourself because next week, your team will be formed. Speaking of, I also want each of you to have a partner. There will be a time when you will be on a 2-man mission. So to get it fair, I want a Jinchuriki to form with a non-Jinchuriki. Learn each other's moves, form collaborations, and watch each other back. So who would be on whose team? If it's cool, I'll be on Naruto's team. We are equal in terms of skills, and I trust him to watch my back. Is that okay with you, Yujito? Samui asked her friend. That's fine. The other 2 might hold him back, especially Karui. Yujito said /. What did you say? I'm as strong as you. Karui responded. You wish. Yujito said before looking at Omoy. So Omoy, how about we partner up? Sure, I'll try to keep up. Omoy answered. Fu smiled and hugged Karui. That means we're partners, Karui nay. Karui expressions soften. Yeah, we're become the best team. Now remember, you're done with the academy. So please take this seriously, especially you, Karui. Your grades could be better. Said. Karui mumbled to herself about hating studying. Naruto will be our Fuinjutsu master. Sweet, I'll be the best. Databeo. Samui will be our demolitionist. Cool. Yujito will be our assassin and stealth fighter. I can get behind that. Fu, you will be our trapper and Jinjutsu mistress. Hi. Omoy will be our strategist. Sure thing, RAIKAGE-sama. And Karui will be our Kenjutsu master. Karui smirked and nodded. Now, all of you will specialize in the field I choose, but you all will learn Kenjutsu, Ninjutsu, and Taijutsu of your own style. Kumo will be at the top. Do you agree? Hi, the new genin responded. Great. Now get out of my office and go enjoy yourself. RAIKAGE ordered with a smile. The genin nodded and left. A turn to Mabui. You can go spend time with Naruto. Mabui blushed and left without a word. He smirked at his brother. With what the ladies have planned, we'll end up reviving his clan. A grunted at be raping but agreed. The revival of the Uzumaki and Namikaze clan in our village, along with 4 Jinchuriki. We will remain on top forever. The new genin and Mabui were bull barbecue, enjoying themselves after their announcement. Mabui and Samui were sitting next to our favorite male blonde since they won in rock, paper, scissors against the other girls. Usually the group would have been chatting it up, but they were staring at mountain of bulgogi, marinated beef, and jumaliak, short marinated steak, being devoured by Naruto and surprisingly Samui and Mabui. The 2 girls were eating more than Yujito and Fu, even though they were Jinchuriki. I understand Naruto-kun. Shit, I even expect Omoy or Yujito, but how the hell does Samui and Mabui eat as much as him? Samui paused and narrowed her eyes at Karui. Are you calling me fat? Mine as well be. Look at your plates. Karui answered. I don't see what the big deal is. Naruto said, gaining everyone's attention. I like a girl who can eat and not worry about dieting. If most girls realize they just need to train, they can look as beautiful as you girls. Naruto said, eating some steak. All the girls blushed, but Fu. She had a puzzling look on her face as she saw Samui and Mabui eat. Is that how your boobs get bigger? Because you eat more than us while training? Naruto blushed and choked. Mabui's face turned red and Samui tilted her head. Possibly, it would explain things. Samui answered and turned to see Naruto still blushing while beating his chest. Waiter, more bulgogi, Karui called. Samui shook her head. Why are you trying to make them bigger? They're a pain on my shoulders. Samui asked and looked at Naruto, who had a nosebleed. Although, they have benefits. If they hurt so much, why won't you let Foxy-kun massage your shoulders? Yujito suggested. Why me? Naruto asked. Because you're good at it. Remember when we sparred a few months ago? My body was sore, but the massage you gave was heavenly. Yujito answered. Really? Samui said before looking at her fellow blonde. I'd appreciate it if you would, Naruto-kun. Samui said with a tint of pink on her cheeks. Same here. Would you do this for us? Mabui asked. Naruto looked between the girls and chuckled nervously. Sure, anything for you girls. Oh, I know. Let's go to the onsen. We can bathe together. Fu suggested. I don't mind. I believe they have a mixed bath. It'll be perfect for the massage. Samui agreed. You guys can go. I think I'll go home and sleep. Omoy said. Naruto laughed at his friend's laziness. That's fine, but we should get out of here. Naruto said. We'll put this on Asama tab. Mabui said. But an onsen would feel nice. Naruto-kun, you will join us, right? I don't think it would be a good idea. I wouldn't to disturb. I don't mind. It'll be fun. You're more than welcome to join. Just don't stare. All the girls said. Naruto blinks and sighs. Fine, if it would make you happy. Naruto said. The girls cheered. The group separated from Omoy and headed to the onsen. As the group was walking, they gained a lot of attention. Look, it's Naruto-sama. Naruto-kun, you can have my kids. Marry me, Naruto-sama. A group of Naruto fangirls yelled, causing Naruto to groan. Samui-chan, step on me. Go out with me. Look, her chest got bigger. Samui eyes twitch a bit. Yujito-sama. Come here, Kitty-chan. Yujito is so hot. Yujito seethed. It's Mabui-san. Wow, sexy as ever. I wish I was married to her. Mabui sighs and shakes her head negatively. It's Fu-chan. Fu is so cute. Just looking at her makes you smile. A group of boys and girls said. Hi everyone. Hi Fu. Everyone responded as Fu waved at them. I swear they're so annoying. Naruto said. I wish I could kill them. Samui said. Yujito and Mabui agreed. Let's just go, girls. Naruto said. The girls nodded and proceeded to the onsen. An hour later. Naruto-kun. This feels so good. Damn, I can't hold back my voice. A little lower, Foxy-kun. So cool. The girls moaned as they were getting the best massage of their life. Naruto looked at them confusingly. Is it really that good? He asked, and he and his clones were massaging the girls. The real one was massaging Mabui. They didn't answer. They couldn't control their breathing. Kid, you have some magical hands. To take their breath away with just a massage is impressive. When you and the girls ha coitus, remember, it's not just about peen dash. Kuruma. Pervert fox. I'm not ready for that. Naruto said with a blush. Please, you're attracted to all of them. Speaking of, next week you're going to spend some time with Mabui. Quite the catch she is, but she also loves smart men. You are ahead in your class, but you could do better. Kuruma said. Naruto looked down at Mabui. What do I do? Naruto asked. He wanted to impress Mabui. He liked the other girls, but his crush on Mabui was huge. Maybe he was a pervert. Easy, you're an Uzumaki. Go to your homeland after your training, but ask the RAIKAGE when Mabui is in the room. I guarantee she will jump at the chance. But don't just yes. Act like you're not sure. Mention how personnel it will be. Naruto listened to Kuruma's plan and smiled. It's been a week since the announcement. Mabui and Naruto were on a private training field at a high point of a mountain. All right, Naruto, when I'm teaching you, I want to be known as Mabui-senpai. Why not sensei? Because I'm not that much older than you, and you're the only one who can call me that. Now to explain how thunder release works. Mabui held up her hand and covered lightning. Naruto-kun, as you have probably seen, Kumo uses lightning to enhance our physical attacks or use jutsu in close range. Do you have any idea why? Because lightning can't be controlled? Naruto answered. Right, lightning range attacks are destructive and hard to control, but the speed makes up for it. Mabui threw a kunai at the center of a rock wall. Watch, lightning style, lightning needle. Mabui shot 5 lightning needles from her hand, and 2 hit the kunai, while the others landed around it, creating small holes, creating cracks around it. Now watch this, thunder senbons. This attack was yellow and bigger, plus there was less static. All senbons hit the middle and went through the canyon. Now Naruto, what have you noticed? Thunder looks more like energy than lightning and is controlled. Thunder is lightning surrounded by wind, compressing it and concentrating its power. It increases its piercing damage and it focuses on one target. Mabui explained. Cool. Naruto cheered with stars in his eyes. While with me, you learn and create your own techniques. You'll learn seals on the side, so be prepared. About that, how many seals do you have here? Naruto asked. Well, not many. We were only able to seal both Bijus in B and Yujito because of a sealing jutsu passed down from the Senju clan, and sad to say it's the most powerful Fuin jutsu we have. Most wouldn't even bother to learn it. Kumo only loves to solve problems with their fist. That's why you being here is a blessing in disguise. Mabui said. Naruto nodded. This would motivate him to try harder in becoming Kumo's first seal master. RAIKAGE was barely awake at the moment in his office. Training both Karui and Omoi while working as RAIKAGE was tiring. He gave him updates on Fu and Yujito's training, both still trying to learn their Kekkei Genkai, but Samui and Naruto progressed further since they had a teacher who could teach them. AG-san. Snapped out of his thought when Naruto and Samui walked in with Darui and Mabui. What do you want, brat? Have you been flirting with my daughter? A grumble, secretly teasing the blonde. What? Naruto replied as both he and Mabui blushed. No, I just wanted to let you know I went over every Fuinjutsu scroll you have and was wondering what to do. AI's widened. There's no way. Actually, it's true too, San. Naruto-kun learned it with ease pretty fast. He's natural at it. He went through all our scrolls and created a few seals on his own. Mabui explained. Well, I'm not sure what to do about this. We were never well educated on Fuinjutsu, and I'm not sure where we could acquire any more. I responded. Naruto now. Naruto mentally nodded. Actually, I might have an idea. Naruto spoke up. Really, what is it? A asked the male blonde. Well, from what Kuruma told me, I'm from the Uzumaki clan. Maybe there's some scrolls locked away at my clan's homeland. If I go there, I can uncover something. Naruto suggested, slightly looking at Mabui. That's actually not a bad idea. Your clan was always protective of their possessions, and it wouldn't be too far-fetched if they have some of their valuables hidden away. I agree, Naruto. I'll send you and a few others to Yuzu. Actually, I have a few suggestions. Samui have a high affinity to water, and she might be helpful, Naruto said, causing Samui to blush with a small smile. I also think Fu should come along since she can fly. Those are good choices, but you should bring a Jonin with you as well. I suggested. Naruto smirked. He knew Mabui wanted to tag along since she was a nerd. Exploring unexplored history and learning more about seals would excite her more than Naruto eating ramen. Well, Darui-sensei has an affinity to water and B-sensei can swim in his tail beast form. The group looked at Mabui, who was shifting nervously. I would love to tag along, if it's okay with you, Naruto-kun. No offense, but I'm not sure how beneficial you'll be on this mission. Granted, you are very strong and the smartest person in the room. Naruto compliments, making Mabui blush. But this is a rare opportunity. To explore your homeland will bring me joy. I don't want to pass this up, and it would mean a lot if you allow me to go. Mabui begged. Naruto folded his arms. I'm not sure. Manui covered her eyes with her bangs and approached the male blonde. She grabbed him by the collar and dragged him outside into the hallway, closing the door behind them. Once they were alone, she pushed Naruto against the wall, causing the blonde to look nervous. Mabui what? Naruto's lips were sealed by Mabui's as she shoved her tongue into Naruto's mouth, causing his mind to turn into mush. I wasn't expecting this, everything turning blurry. Tastes like cinnamon. Go Kit. You'll make a good alpha. Mabui was kissing him for about 30 seconds before she released him. She gave the blonde a proud smirk as she analyzed his expression. May I please go, Naruto-kun? Mabui whispered the last part. Sure. Haha, you can come, Naruto said with a goofy smile. Mabui giggled and grabbed Naruto's hand as they walked back into the office. I wanted to question what happened, but seeing Naruto's face, he had a pretty good idea. Well, when my daughter wants some, she tends to get it. Samui looked at the two before puffing out her cheeks. You win this round. Mabui-sensei can come along, a jig, Naruto said, as his cheeks heated up. I chuckled a bit. Really? How did she convince you? The RAIKAGE asked. Not important. Can we just go? Naruto asked. Yeah. This will be an A-rank mission. Be careful of traps. I'll send Fu to the gate. You'll leave tomorrow and Naruto is in charge. Be mindful that there might be certain areas on why Naruto can enter. Follow his command, understand? Hi, the three responded. The three left the room, and as soon as the door closed, they started laughing. I swear the girls are going to have that boy whipped. Darui smiled as he shook his head. It wouldn't be so dull to see what happens. Darui responded. It's been 4 days since the group left for Yuzu. Naruto and his group were on their way to his homeland, and he was excited but nervous. His home might not find anything but destroyed ruins. You seem happy, Naruto-kun, but at the same time, afraid. I honestly don't know what to expect. I never had a family, and to find something about my heritage is kind of making me nervous. Naruto explained. Samui grabbed his hand and squeezed it slightly, causing him to blush. We're here for you, so don't worry, Samui said with a rare warm smile that caused the blonde's heart to skip a beat. You have a beautiful smile, Naruto mumbled unconsciously. Samui's eyes widened and her cheeks got darker. Naruto's eyes widened when he realized what he said, and both blondes turned their heads from each other. Mabui and Fu had a pouty look on their faces after the reaction. You win this time, Mabui commented. After a few more hours of traveling, they made it to the destroyed village. Naruto gazed at the ruined village. This is my clan's home. Naruto said the group started to walk through the village to see if anything was intact. Naruto wasn't sure how to feel looking at his clan's village. When they made it to the center of the village, there was a statue with glowing eyes. Naruto walked up to the statue and touched it. Unknown to him, chakra poured from his palms to the statue. Soon the statue began to glow, and soon a red-head woman came to life. Hi, Sochi, the woman said. Sochi? Then, you are, Naruto said, trembling. Yes and no. You see, this statue was meant to store memories and knowledge in it. I poured some chakra into you when you were born so I could speak with you. This statue responds to Uzumaki chakra and absorbs the chakra I poured into you, and it allows me to speak to you. Kushina said. Naruto hugged the woman and began to cry. I always wanted to meet you, Ka-chan, Databeo. Kushina hugged him in return, smiling. Now, even though I'm happy to see you, the statue was meant to answer questions. I'm part of the statue, so ask anything. Is there anything still here, like stuff I can learn from my ancestors? You mean like scrolls? Yes, there's a hidden library under the village, but only some of our blood can get in. It's protected by a level 8 barrier seal. Kushina asked. What about weapons? Naruto asked. They are in the library as well. When our village was attacked, we stored all our valuables in there. That way, no matter how hard someone tried, they could never get in. Kushina asked. What happened to our village? Why were they attacked? Kushina looked at the Mabui and saw her headband. She saw Naruto's life and wasn't sure how he would handle it, but she answered. They were destroyed by 3 villages. Kiri, Iwan, Kumo. The Kumo team's eyes widened when they heard this. You see, even though we were peaceful people, we were seen as a threat. Fuinjutsu is the most powerful jutsu art after Sage Jutsus. Our clan not only were prodigies and masters of the art, we created more and more every time we learned. Add that to our Kenjutsu, water and wind mastery, and healing factor, you can see why. But before our clan perished, we took out 85% of each of the other villages' armies. We were badasses. Naruto gave a small smile. I see. Kushina sighs. She tried to make a joke. She didn't blame the current generation for what happened, and hopefully Naruto didn't either. Naruto, it was the first RAIKAGE who issued it, remember that. War happens. Do you understand? Naruto looked at his mom and realized what she was saying. Yeah, I understand. Naruto responded. Kushina nodded and snapped her fingers. Then a stairway appeared under Kushina. This will lead you to the library. You're the only one who can enter. I'll talk with the girls. I would love to get to know my future daughter-in-laws. Mabui, Fu, and Samui blushed. Why, yeah, I'm out. Naruto said before going down the stairs. Okay, first question. How many kids are you willing to give me? Kushina asked. Fu and Mabui blushed up a storm. Samui had a calculated look on her face. Is there a limit? Samui asked. Kushina smirked. I like you. Fu and Mabui panicked. They had to impress Naruto's mother. Well, I like to have 5 or 6. I always wanted a big family. Fu said. I for one would love 3. Mabui said. Samui didn't answer as she was still thinking. She then looked at Kushina with an emotionless look. I think 9 will be cool. Kushina's eyes shined, while Mabui's jaw dropped. Well, are you prepared to share him? Kushina asked, surprising the girls. As you know, he's the last of our clan, and it would be a shame if he were to die, but with you 3 and the other 2 girls, you would be considered heroes since can guarantee our clan's survival. Plus, I doubt any one of you can claim his heart since my Sochi is attracted to all of you, and he wouldn't want to hurt any of you. I wouldn't mind. Fu said. We'll be like sisters. I guess I'll be okay with it. Especially since it was Kumo who destroyed the village. Mabui said. I'm cool, but I'll be the head wife. Samui said. Says who? Mabui asked, narrowing her eyes. Says me, deal with it. Samui glaring back at Mabui. Kushina chuckled a bit. You girls, please take care of my Sochi. He needs it. Kushina said, gaining the girls' attention. Of course, the girls replied. Soon Naruto walked up with 5 clones carrying a big scroll on their backs. I'm back. Why are your faces red? Naruto asked the 3 girls. Oh, we were talking to your mom about. We were having a girl talk. Mabui said, cutting Samui off. Anyone, did you find anything? Yeah, they even have summon scrolls for houses. I'm going to use it for my new home. I also got some Fuinjutsu, Kenjutsu, Ninjutsu, and weapon scrolls. I'm going to be busy for a while. Thank Kami for shadow clones. I see you learned that jutsu. Anyway, Sochi, I don't have much time. Remember, no matter what you choose, I'm proud of you. Rather if it's Kumo or Konoha, always protect what's precious to you. I love you, Naruto. Kushina said, hugging her son. I love you too, Ka-chan. Naruto said, returning the hug. Kushina walked back to the center of the ruined village and turned back into a faceless statue. Naruto just wiped his tears and had a warm smile on his face. Let's go home. Can you girls grab some of the scrolls? The girls nodded and the three proceeded to leave Yuzu and head back to Kumo. Naruto turned his head back to his clan home. By Ka-chan. I'll make you proud. So that's what happened. Said to Naruto's group. Naruto and Mabui had informed them on his trip. I was happy Naruto met his mother, but was wondering what would Naruto do now that he found out that Kumo played a part in his clan's destruction. To the front, then got on his knees and bowed to the blonde. I'm sorry that the village destroyed your ancestors. I just want you to know that I played no part in that. I respected your village and their strength. The RAIKAGE before me wanted me to help, but I refused. Still, I want to apologize. If it helps, I'll grant you one request. It's okay, G-san. I wasn't even there and no one here was involved. But as for the request, may I have a large area of land? I got a house in one of the summoned scrolls, and it's the size of a mansion. Naruto asked. Sure, that's an easy request, and thank you for forgiving our village for what they did. If you want, I can enter you into the Sea since you're the last male of the clan. You would be able to have more than one wife. It's your choice. Said. He knew the boy had a few crushes on some of the girls, but he probably wouldn't accept it unless they did. Naruto stuttered with a blush on his face. The idea of marrying Samui, Mabui, Yujito, Karui, and Fu gave him wild imagination. The girls in the room weren't faring well, but Fu. That's a good idea. We'll be a big, happy family, Fu said, as she hugged the blonde. Samui was quiet. She wasn't sure about this, but all the girls involved were friends of hers, and she couldn't force Naruto to choose and hurt the others. He was of good nature. Plus, Kumo did destroy his clan. I'm cool with it, Samui said. What, Samui, your weight? You want to marry me? Naruto asked with a blush on his face. Is that a problem? Samui asked with a blush on her face. You're the first and only guy friend I have. You are pretty cool. Wait, but that means. I like you, Samui said, finishing Naruto's sentence. Naruto's face felt hotter than the sun. She's not the only one. Naruto turned to Mabui. I like you for a while now. Honestly, before meeting you, I was all about being a shinobi and surviving, and I have to admit, you brought some enjoyment into my life. I like you too, Fu said, jumping on the blonde's back. You're my first friend and the reason I'm here. You're my most precious person. And those three aren't the only ones. Naruto turned his head towards the source and saw B, Karui, and Yujito walk in. Yujito walked up to the blonde and gave him a passionate kiss on the lips. You're an amazing guy. You never gave up on me. Hey, who said you get to kiss him? Karui yelled. Yujito turned to her rival and smirked. Well, if you want to kiss him, nothing is stopping you, Yujito said, causing Karui to freeze. She turned to Naruto, sputtering in embarrassment. Naruto chuckled and approached the girl and kissed her on the cheek. Let's start with this, Naruto said, making Karui blush and give a small nod. Hey, I didn't get to kiss Naruto-kun yet, Fu complained with a pout. Same, it's uncool to leave us out when the three of you get a kiss, Samui said. Naruto gave a nervous chuckle and approached the two. He was about to give Fu a kiss on the cheek, but the Nanabai Jinchuriki turned her head and kissed Naruto on the lips. Naruto pulled back, face red as an Uzumaki's head. We knew each other the longest, so no kissing on the cheek. Naruto just nodded and turned to Samui, who was looking at him expectantly. He could read the look on her face. Don't even think about kissing me on the cheek. Naruto went in for her lips, but Samui was impatient and grabbed Naruto by the collar, pulling him towards her. She smashed her lips against his and added some tongue into it. Both blondes began to moan while in the makeout session. Every girl in the room blushed, while all the guys gave Naruto a proud look, except Darui. Samui separated from Naruto and licked her lips. That was a cool first kiss. Are you done? A asked with an amusing smile. Everyone nodded. Now Naruto, I'll have someone escort you to your land so you can summon your house and set it up. With that said, starting next week, you'll continue your training. Now get out of my office. Summoning Jutsu, Naruto said, summoning his new home from the scroll. What appeared shocked all the genin and Mabui there. A mansion that was the size of a two-story appeared. Was my clan filthy rich, or were they good builders? Naruto asked out loud before walking in with the girls behind him. Wow, this is huge, Fu said, looking around. The first floor had a kitchen, a training room, a dining room, a living room, and there is a spa room. Fu cheered as she ran towards the room with the group behind her. This is a spa room? This looks like a pool, Yujito commented. Look how big the training room is. Karui said. Omoy followed her. Naruto-kun, how about we go check out the library? Mabui asked, tugging Naruto's arm towards the library. Naruto couldn't help but smile being around people he loved. But there was still one person he wished was here. Hibihime. For months had passed, and the Genin was now ready to take on B rank or higher missions. They completed multiple D and C rank missions. So far from what I could tell, without the Bijou power, the strongest in order was Naruto in first because he was more well-rounded. He mastered his wind, lightning, and water affinity thanks to those clones. Also, his thunder release was well on its way to being complete. He took up dual wielding and used 2 long swords he got from his clan scrolls, but it still needed work. He was already the best seal master they had, but he wasn't sure how good he was. His best physical attribute was his speed and stamina. His taijutsu was just as good as his kenjutsu. He was above mid-chunin in both, but with experience he will get better. He also mastered the lightning armor and came up with other variants. Samui was in the same tier as Naruto. Her taijutsu was better because of her flexibility. She masters both her affinity for water and lightning, but she was still learning her storm release. Trying to compete with her fellow blondes really pushed her. She decided to use a long sword as her weapon since it fits well with her body type. She was balanced when it came to speed and power. She also learned the RAIKAGE lightning armor as well. Yujito would be the 3rd strongest, but not far. Her best skill was her reaction time to dodge and evade. She was also their best sensor kunoichi. She was the taijutsu specialist of the 6 genin, and along with her scorch release, she caused opponents to lose stamina. She used a short sword as her weapon of choice. Fu was the next strongest. If they could be honest, Fu would be their best defensive fighter. With her crystal release and stamina, plus being the only one among the 6 genin to know genjutsu as well. Her affinities also included water, earth, and wind. She was still working on wind, but her water and earth was close to mastery. She uses a chikudo for her weapon. Karui would be next in strength. She was a balance fighter and was probably the best at kenjutsu among the 6. She still only mastered one of her affinities, but she did learn a couple jutsu outside of her nature. Omoy is the most analytic of the group. He is not really motivated, but he can be fierce when he outsmart his opponent. He was the strongest lightning user of the group and had the best chakra control of everyone. If he can only fix his paranoia. Yo bro, we are here for the show, but there's a problem. I can't find Mabui and Naruto yo. He said, snapping out of his thoughts. In front of him were Darui, Samui, Fu, Karui, and Omoy. Where's Mabui, Yujito, and Naruto? I asked. And no rapping. He chuckled. Yujito is trying to maintain her full-tail beast state. I set a timer for her. As for the Mr. 9 and Mabui, they've been disappearing after training and hanging out. I have no idea what they are doing. I know where they are, Samui said. Good, where are they? In Naruto-kun's library. Naruto is addicted to Fuinjutsu, while Mabui likes learning new things. They spend time there every chance they get. Naruto only comes out for training, to hang and dates with us. I hope we see some results. We go get the 3 of them. A order. He nodded and shunshin away. After a few minutes, Naruto, Mabui, and Yujito walked in with B behind them. Yujito was glaring at Mabui, and anyone with a brain can guess why just by looking at Naruto. He had kiss marks all over his face. Now that everyone is here, I'm proud to say that you 6 are among the strongest shinobi Kumo ever produced. Does that mean we can take B-rank missions? Naruto asked. Fine, you can start doing missions whenever you're ready. B, stay behind. I'd like to ask you something. I said. Everyone else left, leaving the 2 brothers. So what's the time limit and the limitation? Where Naruto can stay in full Bijou form for 45 seconds, but I don't recommend it because it leaves him fatigued. He can use 5 tails at most with no problem, and for now that's good. Fu is the same, but she can maintain her full beast transformation for 3.5 minutes. She can use the same amount as Naruto. Yujito has full control of hers since Matabi has way less tails. I see, that's good news. Do they have to fight their Bijou soon? Hell no, bro. They're strong for now, and they can even handle most Jonin with the combined training we gave them. They just lack experience, but that'll come in time. We'll keep boosting Fu and Naruto's time limit. The more they can use, the better. But I agree that they are strong. I'll even hate to fight all 3 of them at once if I'm honest. Same here, bro. That's a no-go. B said. Next day, Naruto, Yujito, Samui, and Mabui were in a office after being called. You 3, I have a B-rank mission for you. Samui will be joining you instead of Fu's spot. This is BA rank depending on the enemy. Your goal is to assassinate a man named Gato. Is a business owner as well as an underground mob boss. Apparently, he took over the Wave Country. The person who hired you is named Tsunami. Gato is after her father's life. Any questions? Yes. Why has Samui taken over Fu? Yujito asked. Because Tsunami informed us that Konoha will most likely be there if they continue the mission. Her father lied about the mission being a C rank, but if you do encounter them, I would rather not have all the Jinchuriki there. Plus, Fu is training with B right now. Naruto, you need to overcome this. I don't care if they find out about you. Show them it was a mistake to treat you wrong. Also, if they find you, we can establish an alliance and you can participate in this year's Chunin exam. I said. I see, don't worry. I have the girls with me. I'm sure they are going to try to take me back, but I have so much here for me. So I'm not going with them. You treated me normally and I love the girls. This is my home. Naruto said. The girls in the room blushed. I gave an approved smile. Good. Now pack up and be at the gate in 30 minutes. Hi. The group responded before leaving. Mabui-sensei, what's the plan when we get to Wave? Naruto asked. Well, we'll find Tsunami-san and head to her house and gather information. We can't just charge in pointlessly. Gato can hire shinobi, and depending on the rank will make the mission difficult. Mabui answered. And the Konoha team? Samui asked. We cooperate, but try not to let them provoke you if possible. Mabui answered. Naruto-kun, how strong do you think the team is? Yujito asked. Well, from what I remember, Konoha is pretty lax. At the highest, from the Genin, I expect mid-Chunin level. But the Jonin, I'm not sure who it will be. Naruto answered. Well, we're almost there. Mabui said as they arrived into town. They saw the unfinished bridge and had to admit they were impressed. Now we have to find our contract house. Naruto, Yujito, see if you two sense a group of chakra together. Mabui ordered. Hi. Both blonde Jinchuriki responded as they closed their eyes. After a while, Yujito opened her eyes and turned to the direction she felt the chakra. There are 4 large chakra signatures towards the woods. Yeah, 1 Genin, 2 Chunin, and High Jonin. Must be Konoha. Naruto continued. All right, let's move out. The group walked towards Tazuna House, looking at the state of the village. It was terrible, starving kids on the street, buildings falling apart, and sickness all around. Naruto balled up his fist in anger. We'll save this village. Naruto said in anger. Samui walked beside him and held his hand. Hi, we make this village cool again. Yujito grabbed the other hand. We got this, we can handle anything. Mabui smiled from behind as they walked to their destination. When they arrived, Mabui knocked on the door. Coming. They heard a woman's voice, then the door opened. Hello there? Oh, Kumo-nin. You're here. I'm Tsunami, please come in. Tsunami said as the group followed them in. Kumo Shinobi? What are you doing here? Sakura asked, sitting at the table alongside her other 2 teammates. Naruto analyzes them. The pinkette has average Genin reserves, no muscle at all, and the way she dresses screamed fangirl. The boy with the blue shirt had an Uchiha logo on his shirt, had low Chunin reserves. He looked arrogant and felt cold. The last was a pale boy. Naruto felt nothing from him, and he was suppressing his chakra. He would probably have high Chunin reserves. We were hired to assassinate Gato by Tsunami-san. Where's your sensei? Mabui asked. Sasuke looked at the group like he was analyzing them. Sakura was worried these girls will try to take Sasuke, but was also jealous of their body. So I didn't care. He's upstairs. He was resting after yesterday's battle. He should be fine. I'll go and get him. Sakura said, getting up and heading upstairs. Sasuke looked at Naruto, and Naruto looked back with a confused look. What? Nothing, Sasuke said, turning his head. Soon Kakashi came down alongside Sakura, looking at the Kumo team until his eyes widened when he saw the male blonde. Naruto? Naruto, you're alive? Kakashi asked, confusing Team 7 until Sakura's eyes widened. Naruto? As in Naruto Namikaze? The boy who disappeared years ago? Sakura asked her sensei. Kakashi nodded, and Team 7 turned to the male blonde with different thoughts. He looks just like sensei, but how did he end up in Kumo? I'm glad he's alive, Kakashi thought. He's the son of the Yondaime. He will be perfect for testing my strength, Sasuke thought. He's so hot. He looks just as good as the Yondaime. I know. I don't know who's hotter between him and Sasuke-kun, Sakura thought, squealing with hearts in her eyes. I have to report this to Danzo-sama that the weapon is alive. Sai thought. Naruto narrowed his eyes. It's Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, and how do you know that? Kakashi sat down on the floor. You see, after you disappeared, Sandaime-sama revealed your heritage to the village to make them feel guilty about what they did, assuming you were dead. The village was torn up about it because they built a statue of you alongside your mother and father. Naruto sighs. I see. I have to thank Gigi next time I see him. Anyway, how about we all introduce ourselves? As you know, I'm Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. My name is Mabui, leader of Team Ragnarok. Mabui said in a professional tone. I'm Samui. Samui said in a cold tone. My name is Yujito ni. Yujito said in a calm fashion, folding her arms under her bust. Well, I'm Kakashi Hitaki, leader of Team 7. Kakashi said. I'm Sakura Haruno. Nice to meet you. Sakura said, looking at Naruto before blushing. Naruto caught this and got annoyed. Great, a fangirl from another village. My name is Sai. Sai said, with no emotion. I'm Sasuke Uchiha, from the strongest clan in the village. Sasuke said arrogantly. Naruto and his fellow blondes weren't impressed. Great, now everyone introduce. Naruto, I want to say I'm sorry. Kakashi said. Naruto was confused. About what? I wasn't there to protect you. You see, you might remember me as Dogman. Kakashi said. Naruto's eyes widened. He remembers a couple Umbu protecting him as a child. One was a cat, one was a crow, and the last was. You used to protect me as a kid, Naruto said, causing his team to look at Kakashi in a new light. At least one person in Konoha was good. Yes, the day you disappeared. Me and the other two were sent on a mission. I'm guessing the elders planned it. When we returned, you were gone. I felt like I failed you and your father. You see, he was my sensei and I promised him I would always protect you. But I thought I failed. Naruto walked up to the one-eyed Jonin and placed a hand on his shoulder. You had no control over what happened. Thanks for looking out for me. Naruto said, but Kakashi was still upset. You don't understand. If you were still in Konoha, you would have been on my team. Kakashi said, surprising his team. It would have been you, Sasuke, and Sakura. I see. Naruto responded, not knowing what to say. Can I ask you something? Are you happy? Naruto looked at his team and gave them a warm smile. More than I've ever been. Good. That's all that matters. Kakashi said. Now that's over. How about we test each other's strength? Let's go into the woods and have a spar. Mabui thought about it before agreeing. Sure, if we are going to work together, even a little. It'll be good to measure our strengths. The group was about to leave until Kakashi put his hand on Mabui's shoulder. Wait, Mabui, I need a favor. What is it, Hitaki-san? Since I can't be his sensei, would you mind if I pass on a jutsu I created to him? Although, it'll help if he has lightning affinity. Kakashi asked. Mabui's eyes widened before she gave him a reassuring smile. Sure, I'm sure he'll like that. And he does. How are you feeling, Kit? Kuruma asked. I'm okay, thanks for asking. It's not as bad as I thought. Although, the way the Uchiha is looking at me is giving me homo vibes. Not to mention, the fangirl. She's going to be a pain, but with Samui and Kitty here, it should be fine, Kuruma said. Naruto-kun. Naruto snapped out his thoughts when Sakura started to walk beside him. I was wondering if we could get to know each other since we'll be working together. Sure, I guess that's fine, Naruto said. He had no reason to be rude, but he didn't want to get close to her. Why not tell me about yourself? Well, I'm Kunoichi of the year, and I'm kinda a book nerd, Sakura said, hoping to impress the Namikaze. Really? Naruto asked, surprisingly. Maybe she has some hidden strength. I can't see her as Kunoichi of the year. Same, maybe she specializes in Genjutsu. With her reserves, her chakra control could be perfect. Maybe a medic? Kuruma said. Yeah, do you have a Kunoichi of the year as well? Sakura asked. Yeah, we do. Samui-chan, come here please. Naruto called as they walked through the woods. Samui, hearing her name being called by her boyfriend, approaches the two. She saw how Sakura looked at Naruto and decided to fix this. When she arrived, she hugged Naruto's arm. Yes, Naruto-kun, Samui said as Sakura glared at the girl. Would you believe that Sakura-san here is Kunoichi of the year like you? Naruto said as they arrived in the forest and waited for their sensei. Samui let go of Naruto's arm and stood in front of Sakura, looking her up and down. Samui scoffed and walked back next to Naruto. I don't see it. She doesn't look strong. Sakura glared at the Kumo Kunoichi. Now that we are all here, how about we each pick a fighter among our students? Kakashi suggested. Mabui nodded. Sure, in fact. I'll let your student choose who he or she will fight. Mabui said with full confidence. Confident are we, okay. Sasuke, you're up. Kakashi said. Sasuke smirked and stepped forward. So I can pick who I fight? Sasuke asked, looking at Naruto. That's right. Is all right to assume that you want to fight Naruto-kun? Mabui asked. That's right. Sasuke responded. Mabui looked at Naruto before nodding at him. Naruto walked a good distance and stood in front of the Uchiha. Sasuke smirked at Naruto. You should be honored. You are about to face the last of the Uchiha clan and the Rookie of the Year at Konoha Academy. So cool/so hot. Sakura and Inner Sakura said. Naruto gave a small smile. Really? Well, I'm the Rookie of the Year at Kumo Academy. Allow me to show you why. Naruto replied. So awesome/so gorgeous, the fangirl thought again. Mabui stood in between. Remember, this is a spar. No death blows, and when I say it's over, it's over. Mabui said, looking at the two boys. Begin. Sasuke wasted no time, charging the blonde. Naruto got in a defensive stance. He's fast as a new Chunin. Naruto said, blocking a kick. There's nothing special about his physical strength, although he's better than an average Chunin. Naruto sent an arm strike to the Uchiha, catching him off guard and sending him skidding on top of the ground. Naruto narrowed his eyes on Sasuke. Why hasn't he activated his Sharingan? Does he believe he can win without it, or he doesn't possess it yet? Kuruma said, confirming his thoughts. Sasuke charged the blonde again, throwing a punch. Naruto caught it and pulled Sasuke forwards, then kneed him in the stomach and kicked him in the chest, sending him back. Sasuke glared at the blonde and threw 5 shurikens at him. Naruto took out 1 shuriken and threw it to the side of the first one. Then his shuriken bounced off Sasuke's, messing up the trajectory. Damn, try this, Sasuke said, going through some hand signs. A tiger seal. He's going to use a fire jutsu. Naruto thought before going through a few hand signs. Fire style, fireball jutsu. Sasuke sent his fireball towards Naruto. When the attack hit, Sasuke smirked, thinking he won, but what surprised him was that steam rose up from nowhere. When the steam cleared, Naruto was surrounded by a wall of water, causing Sasuke to seethe. Is that all? I guess I'll end this, Naruto said before disappearing and reappearing behind Sasuke. Uzumaki Gravity Prison, Naruto said, before Sasuke was forced into the ground and couldn't get. I can't move, Sasuke said, as his body vibrated on the ground. Since Sasuke is unable to stand, Naruto-kun wins, Mabui said. Naruto nodded and walked towards his team. He gave Samui a high five and Yujito gave him a fist bump. Wow, I can't believe Sasuke-kun lost, Sakura said. Kakashi looked at Naruto and smiled. You're strong, and I'm sure you were holding back. I lost. How can I lose to someone that's not an Uchiha? Well, he is the son of a Kage, Sasuke thought before glaring at the male blonde. When I awake my Sharingan, I'll put him in his place. Now that the spar is over, I have a question. Is Uchiha-san your strongest Chunin? Mabui asked. Why, yes he is. Why do you ask? Kakashi answered. I wanted to get a good measure on your team abilities. May I assume that Haruno-san is just as strong as Uchiha-san, since she's the Kunoichi of the Year? Kakashi rubbed his head sheepishly. No. I'm afraid she only became Kunoichi of the Year for her book smarts. That explains it, Samui said, walking in. In Kumo, we are praised for our strength. While we do have book knowledge, that matters little. What are you trying to say? What my student is saying is, Samui is the Kunoichi of the Year, but she's also as strong as Naruto-kun. I assume it was the same for you, but I was wrong. After your confirmation, it would seem that my team is stronger than yours. And what about you? Sasuke asked, mad at the Kumo Jonin called them weak. Me? Have you not heard of the Thunder Empress? Mabui asked. Kakashi was shocked. I have. Kumo has a Kunoichi who is supposed to be the fastest person on Earth with a new Kekkei Genkai no one ever heard of. That's you? Kakashi asked. That's right. Mabui the Thunder Empress. Mabui confirmed. Sasuke seethed. First the Namikaze. Now this bitch seems to have the power he needs to kill his brother. To be the fastest person made it sound like she was untouchable. And to be frank, I'm not the only one with the bloodline. I see. Well, it's good to work with you, Kakashi said. Now to explain the situation. Kakashi told the team from Kumo about their encounter with Zabuza and the Hunter Nin. The Kumo team knew Zabuza was in a death state, and the Hunter Nin was in fact since she carried him away. I see. Along with the bandits, Gato is heavily guarded. When Zabuza attacks, we take the chance to kill Gato. After that, Zabuza will have no reason to continue his assault. But will you be able to handle it? Mabui asked. Naruto defeated their strongest genin with no effort, and if both their opponents are jonin level, things can become troubling. Don't worry, I was going to train them so they may be ready. It should increase their chances, Kakashi said, piquing his students' interest. But what kind of training are we going to do, sensei? Sakura asked. Tree climbing, Kakashi said with pride. Sasuke and Sakura looked at their sensei confusingly, while Kumo gave a disappointing look to the Konoha Jonin. But we know how to climb trees, Sakura said. Without no hands, Kakashi said, turning to the tree and walking up it. Sasuke and Sakura looked amazed. Excuse me, Hataki-san, Mabui called out. Yes. How long has it been since they graduated from the academy? About 3 months ago, Kakashi answered. I see. Anyway, team, let's go scouting, Mabui said, earning a nod from the Kumo team. Aren't you going to teach your team this exercise? Maybe. It's too hard for them, Sasuke said with a smug look. Mabui narrowed her eyes at the raven head. ** team, show them and get it over with. The blonde trio approached different trees and proceeded to run up to the very top until they disappeared from view. Soon they came down and looked at Sasuke, Naruto, and Yujito with a smug look. Samui gave him a bored look. As you can see, Uchiha, we learned this months ago, Samui said as the group walked away, leaving a jealous Uchiha and a starstruck Sakura. So this is Gato's base? Naruto asked. He and his team were outside a warehouse that was far from town. They discovered it when they followed a bandit to the location. Yujito had her eyes closed. I sense about 30 bandits. There are 2 individuals with chakra levels around Samui and yours, Mabui-sensei, Yujito said. Good. At least we know that Zabuza is the only threat, Mabui said. We should go back. Hi. I wonder how the Konoha team is doing with the exercise, Yujito asked as they jumped away. Well, the Uchiha is struggling, I'm pretty sure. He won't be able to control his thoughts because of his jealousy. Sakura probably completed it on her first try because of her low chakra level, and the other guy, Sai. He seems like he's hiding his skills, Naruto commented. Honestly, they shouldn't be here. They're untrained and weak, Samui added in. I was thinking the same. The Copy Nin is famous in the Elemental Nation. I found it hysterical that his team was as weak as they were, Mabui said. Should we do some training? I would love to spar with you, Mabui-sensei, Samui said. If it's cool with you, I want to test my storm release against you. That would all right. Yujito and Naruto-kun can guard the house, and we'll switch up the schedules tomorrow. The team agreed and proceeded to Tezuna's home. When they arrived, they saw Sakura there by herself. When Sakura looked up, she had hearts in her eyes when she noticed Naruto. Naruto-kun, you're back, Sakura said, lunging towards him. Samui pulled her favorite blonde out the way and glared at the pinkette. No touching, Samui said in a cold tone. Who made you the boss? Sakura asked, glaring at the Samui. Samui returned, causing Sakura to gulp. If you have a problem, we can take it outside and spar a bit. Sakura quickly shook her head no. That's what I thought. Soon Sasuke walked in with dirt on him. He looked around the house and landed his eyes on Naruto. You Namikaze, fight me, Sasuke demanded. Really right now? Naruto questioned. You just got done training and barely have any chakra. You can't even hold your breath. Doesn't matter. I have more than enough to beat you, Sasuke said with confidence. You don't say. Come outside and let me show you something, Naruto said, walking past the Avenger. Sasuke and the rest of the group followed the blonde. Naruto turned to Sasuke and faced the Uchiha. You said you had enough chakra to face me? I'll make a deal with you. If you can match my chakra level, I'll fight you. What do you mean? Sasuke asked. Naruto smirked and flared his chakra. He was surrounded by a huge blue sphere that was creating a huge gust of wind. Sasuke had to cover his face, while Sakura fell on her butt. The Kumo team just watched Naruto with pride, but the chakra they were feeling was warming their body, and the 3 girls were resisting the urge to submit to Naruto from the power they were feeling, especially Yujito, who was rubbing her legs while licking her lips. Naruto stopped and gave a cocky smirk to the Uchiha. Well, what do you think? That was about 10% of my chakra output. Sasuke gasped and was speechless. 10%. How much chakra does he have? Even if he is the son of the fourth, that's too much for an average genin. Naruto-kun is amazing. He has more chakra than Sasuke-kun, and he's hot. Sakura thought. Naruto-kun is amazing as always. I can't wait until we get back to Kumo toward him. Mabui said. Naruto is so cool. I want him. Samui thought with a blush. Damn, Naruto is hot. I want him to take me now. He's definitely a worthy alpha. Yujito thought. Kitten, when we get back to the village, you should drag him to your room and re-dash. Matabi started before Yujito cut her off with a blush on her face. Kit, you got your mates wanting you to breed them, and you humiliated the Uchiha. I'm so proud of you, Kuruma said. Naruto turned to his team and saw them eyeing him with lust in their eyes, making his face turn red. Tsunami soon walked outside and called everyone for dinner. The group walked inside, with Sasuke slowly following while setting in jealousy at Naruto's strength. Kakashi soon came down with Sai to join them for dinner. As they were eating, Samui and Mabui sat next to Naruto, while Yujito sat in his lap like a cat claiming her territory. Sakura was glaring at the Kumo Kunoichi, even though she was sitting next to Sasuke. Why do you even bother? Everyone turned to a little boy, who was glaring at the shinobis. Gato is too strong. He will kill you. That's a risk we're willing to take. Naruto said, cutting in. We risk our lives every time we accept missions like these. And Gato is nothing but a weakling. Even Pinky here can kill him. Yujito said, causing Sakura to glare at her, while Naruto and Samui chuckled a bit. There you go, enjoying yourselves. You wouldn't be making that face if you knew real suffering. Inari yelled in anger, but soon the room was filled with ki radiating from both blonde Jinchurikis. Oh no, Kurama and Matabi thought as they felt their host's anger. Do you know how it feels to be hated by everyone in your village? Naruto asked, drawing everyone's attention but Yujito. Kakashi remembered saving Naruto a couple times from mobs in his village. To be called a freak by everyone around for something you can't control. Yujito added, snatching the attention from Naruto. To be hunted and beaten to the inch of your life. To be ignored when you're hungry or hurt. To sleep in an alleyway. Because you've been kicked out on the street. To have no one to love you. Because you have no parents and everyone else is afraid of you. Naruto and Yujito asked back and forth. Mabui, Kakashi, and Samui looked down with a saddened look, while everyone else gasped from they heard from the blondes. Inari, you have a mother and grandfather who love you. I never knew anyone from my family. I never knew my parents either, and everyone made fun of me because of something I never asked for. I decided to push everyone away from me. You say you're suffering, but the truth is, you don't know what it feels like to be a sacrifice. Yujito stated as she and Naruto headed towards the door. Sensei can swap shifts. Naruto and I need to spar. So may you guard the house. Sure. Be careful and take as much time as you need. Mabui responded as the two left. I see. She's the same as Naruto. Kakashi said, earning a nod from Mabui. Can you dash? Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. Kakashi responded, earning a grateful look from Mabui. What they said about their lives is true? Tsunami asked. That was the lighter version of it for Naruto. Kakashi answered. You see, if it weren't for the villagers, Naruto would have been on my team, and he would have been living in Konoha. But when he was young, he ran away from the village because of a mob chasing him. The higher-ups in our village send most of us who would protect him away on random missions, including me. When I returned, I found out he ran away and hadn't seen him before this week. Kakashi said. Yujito was not as bad since she retaliated, but all she wanted was a friend. The only one who ever talked to her was our leader and Samui here. If it wasn't for Naruto, Yujito, and even Samui might have been an emotionless shinobi. Mabui said. Inari started to cry and went upstairs. Sakura had her hand over her mouth. Tsunami went after her son, and Tazuna just stared at the ground in pity. Naruto and Yujito were both breathing heavily, surrounded in their one-tail cloak form. There were destroyed trees around. I think I've calmed down, Naruto said. Same. Can't believe that Brat had the nerve to say that. Yujito said as both hers and Naruto's cloaks receded inside them. It's not like he knew our lives. And he's just a kid, Naruto said, but then he narrowed his eyes. I sense a lot of chakra in that direction, Naruto said, pointing to a flower field. Yujito turned her head and concentrated in that direction. I feel it too. They're trying to suppress it, but it feels like it's around low Jonin. Let's check it out, Naruto suggested. Yujito nodded and followed her alpha. Naruto and Yujito ran through the trees until they arrived at a flower field. They turned to the source of chakra and saw a girl with a pink kimono. Naruto and Yujito nodded at each other before approaching the girl. Excuse me. The girl looked up at them and smiled. How may I help you? We felt a source of chakra and found you here. Who are you? Yujito said, surprising Haku. Well, I'm Haku and I'm a war orphan. I'm just picking flowers because my friend feels sick. Haku answered. Yujito and Naruto studied her and shrugged their shoulders. They could tell she wasn't lying. Would you like some help? I'll appreciate it, Haku said as the three began to pick flowers. Do you mind if I ask you two something? Both blondes looked at her and nodded. What do you fight for? Huh? Both Jinchuriki responded. Why do you fight? You're shinobi, right? Haku asked. I fight so I can be strong enough to protect my homes and the people I care about, Naruto answered. I have important people I want to protect. Yujito blushed. I do too. I want to protect my village and friends, Yujito said, putting her hand on Naruto's. That's good. I believe you can truly grow strong when you fight for someone else, Haku said, standing up with her basket. It was nice meeting you too, and have a pleasant day. What do you think, Naruto-kun? Yujito asked. She is well-trained and a sensor. When we approached her, she had senbons ready. Could be the hunter Nin mentioned. But everything she said was true, honestly. I don't want to kill her, Naruto said. Well, we won't have to. We know where Gato is. We can wait till Zabuza leaves and destroy the pig. Come on, let's head back to the house, Yujito said, earning a nod from the blonde. When she was about to walk away, Naruto grabbed her hand and pulled her into a kiss. Yujito's eyes closed as she moaned into the kiss and wrapped her arms around her fellow blonde, as Naruto put his hand on her waist. After a minute, Yujito pulled away with a hazy look. What was that for? The conversation made me realize how important you are to me. Naruto, grabbing her hand. Come on, let's head back to the house. Yujito just followed while touching her lips. Way to go, kid, Kuruma commented. Wow, you must really mean something to Naruto-kun. Matabi commented. Yujito blushed. Now you're guaranteed to take his virginity dash. Yujito cut her off. We're back, Naruto called. Sakura jumped up and ran to give him a hug. Welcome back, Naruto-kun, Sakura said. Guess what? We have reinforcements. What do you mean? Naruto asked, stepping away from the pinkette. Well, when we encountered those two Kiri Nins, Kakashi-sensei called for reinforcements before we met up, Sakura said. They heard noise coming down the stairs and turned their gaze towards to see the new reinforcement, but when Naruto's eyes landed on one of them, he glared at them. What are you doing here? Naruto snarled, startling Sakura and Yujito. Yujito looked towards the Jonin he was glaring out. It was a woman with raven black hair and red eyes. Naruto-kun, why are you glaring at Kurenai-sensei? Sakura asked. Naruto, Kurenai repeated, looking towards the Kumo Nin and gasping in surprise when she saw him. She was about to approach, but saw he was glaring at her. I see you remember me, Kurenai said with guilt, remembering their last encounter. How could I forget? You were one of the ones who treated me like a monster, Naruto said. When Yujito heard this, she narrowed her eyes at Team 8 Sensei. I know, but I would like to apologize, Kurenai said sincerely. Why? Is it because you know who my father is? No thanks, I don't need your pity, Naruto responded. No, it's not because of that. Can we just talk in private? Kurenai asked with a sincere tone. Please, I'm begging you. Naruto looked at, waving his options. Kit, do it. Just hear her out. Naruto was shocked to hear it, but nodded. Fine, follow me, Naruto said as he led Kurenai outside. He leaned against a tree and folded his arms. Talk. Naruto-san, I'm sorry. I never attacked you, but I was wary of you, but I had a good reason. You see, when I was a little girl, my father was crushed right in front of me. Naruto's eyes widened, but didn't say anything. He was reaching out to me, begging me to be safe. When I saw the paw that crushed him, all I saw was red eyes looking down at me. Kurenai explained. Kit, let me speak with her. Naruto nodded and closed his eyes, confusing the Genjutsu mistress. When he opened it, it was crimson. Greetings, Kurenai Yuhi. Naruto is allowing me to speak to you. What do you want? Kurenai asked in anger. To apologize to you. I'm not sure how much you know, but I was put under a jinjutsu when I attacked your village. I caused so much pain and destruction, Kuruma said, bowing to Kurenai then lifting his head back up. With that said, you villagers owe the kid a bigger apology. With the way they treated him, you thought you were harming me, but you were dead wrong. You attacked an innocent child and had the nerve to call me a monster, playing the victim role. I'm glad you apologized, but don't expect the kid to just forget what happened in Konoha. He experienced trauma no one his age should have. I said what I had to say, but let me warn you, I care about the kid. So if I find out the kid is in danger, I will kill you and anyone else I deem a threat to him. I understand and thank you, Kurenai said. Naruto's eyes closed and turned back to their cerulean color. Kurenai, I'm glad you learned from your mistake and I understand why you disliked me. And since you never attacked me, I'll forgive you, Naruto said, earning a smile from the Jonin. Then, Kurenai started, but Naruto raised his hand. But I'm not returning, Naruto said, shocking her. Why not? The village learns and sees the difference. They won't harm you anymore, Kurenai said. Like the fox said, I can't forget what they did because their views are different. I was chased out of the village while they hurled weapons at me. I was attacked on my birthdays and sold rotten food. In Kumo, they treat me as their equal and even know of my burden. I'm happy there, Naruto said. What about Anko? Kurenai asked, making Naruto freeze. Ever since you disappeared, she hasn't smiled once. She's cold to everyone, and she's the target of most people's hate. I can't get her to open up to me at all, and she told me she won't be happy until she sees you again. Naruto thought about his friend and started to cry a bit. He never realized he would have this much of an effect on the snake mistress, and he missed her. The first friend he had, and who actually tried to take care of him. Kurenai analyzed the blonde, seeing the conflict he was facing. I missed Hibi-chan, I really do, but I can't turn my back on Kumo. I'll talk to Oldman RAIKAGE and ask about being a liaison, but I'm sure if Hibi-chan was in my shoes, she would understand. Kurenai looked down in sadness. Is there anything I can do to convince you to return? Kurenai pleaded. His answer is no. Kurenai turned to see Mabui approaching the two alongside Samui, who looked a little beat up. The RAIKAGE already gave Naruto-kun the choice to leave if he desired. He's not holding him at the village and still decided to train him. I understand you care for your friend, but in the end it's Naruto-kun's choice. She's right, Kurenai-san. They became family to me, and I won't turn my back on him, Naruto said. Kurenai sighed and gave Naruto a weak smile. I understand, and I'm sorry how the village treated you, Kurenai said. If you ever need anything from me, just ask, Kurenai said before walking in the house. Samui walked next to Naruto and grabbed his hand. Are you okay? Naruto turned to his fellow blonde and gave a weak smile. Yeah, I'm fine. Naruto then turned to Mabui with a determined look. Sensei, with the other Konoha team, what's the plan? Mabui thought about it. Considering that our mission is Gato, I think we should divide ourselves. Naruto-kun and I will aid Konoha to make sure Zabuza doesn't return to Gato. Samui and Yujito will track Gato down. It's not our job to protect Tazuna. We were hired to kill Gato. We'll leave protecting the family to Konoha. Naruto frowned at this. I know it's not our job, but if you want to protect them, I'll allow it, Naruto-kun. Mabui said with a smile, knowing how Naruto is. Naruto gave her a small smile. Thanks, I'll leave a clone or two and go to the bridge. Good, I guess we all agree, Mabui said, earning a nod from the genin. It was the next day. Naruto and Mabui were with Team 7 and Kurenai. Kurenai is not with her team. Naruto left a clone with Tazuna's family. Mabui was with Kakashi and Kurenai, while Naruto was with Sai, Sakura, and Sasuke. Kakashi informed them that Zabuza had an ally and was unsure on how skilled they were. Are we really ready for this? Naruto heard Sakura ask. Don't worry, we have numbers. Sai answered. I won't need any help. I'll handle everything myself, Sasuke said. Naruto didn't say anything and was trying to sense the enemy. He picked up on 2 Jonin-level signatures and narrowed his eyes. They're here, Naruto said as mist started to surround the bridge. Well. It seems you brought reinforcements. I recognized the illusion mistress, Kurenai Yuhi, but the other, Zabuza said, turning to Mabui. It doesn't matter, just know that if I enter the fight, your life is forfeit, Mabui said in a calm tone. Please, you might be a Jonin, but you don't look much older than the brats, Zabuza said before turning to the genin and landing his eyes on Sasuke. Look, even one of them is quivering in fear. You're wrong. I'm shaking with excitement. Sasuke said. Zabuza made 3 water clones, and they charged the genin. Sasuke smirked, and in a blink of an eye, he took out the clones. Sakura was in awe, but Naruto was unimpressed, and so was Mabui. Looks like you have a rival in speed, Haku. Zabuza said, turning to his tool. Maybe, but not in him. Haku said, looking at Naruto. That boy is dangerous. He was not impressed by the Uchiha, which indicates he is stronger. Well, take care of the Uchiha and take out the blonde. Zabuza ordered. Haku nodded and charged forward. Go Sasuke. Kakashi ordered. Sasuke charged forward and the battle began. Naruto observed the battle and frowned. Haku surprised Sasuke, but doing one-hand signs jutsu. Not only that, Sasuke was using chakra to match Haku's natural speed, and he knew soon Sasuke was going to get tired. He's going to lose if this keeps up, Naruto said, shocking Sakura. How? They look even, Sakura said. Sasuke is using chakra to match Haku's movement, and soon he'll get tired and run out. If he awakens his Sharingan, he could have a chance, but Haku was better trained. Naruto said, I'll step in if things get too close, but only after Sasuke is knocked out. Sasuke turned to the fight with a worried look. Sasuke-kun. Naruto narrowed his eyes when he felt a build-up in chakra coming from Haku. Soon Sasuke was surrounded by ice mirrors, and Haku walked in one of them. I guess I should get ready, Naruto said, walking towards the fight. Are you going to save Sasuke-kun? Sakura asked. No, I'm going to save everyone, Naruto responded, walking forward with hands in his pocket. Naruto was outside the ice dome, looking at a punctured Sasuke. Hey Uchiha, do you need assistance? Sasuke turned to Naruto and snarled. I don't need your help. Okay, I'll stay here and watch you die, Naruto said, making Sasuke scowled. Only an Uchiha can beat an Uchiha, Sasuke said, struggling to stand. You need to do some research. There were multiple people who defeated an Uchiha outside your clan. Stop being stupid, Naruto said. You're too arrogant to be a shinobi. You'll die if you keep this up. Shut up, you know nothing. I'm of royal blood, Sasuke yelled. So am I, and you don't see me being an arrogant punk, Naruto retorted. You have a teammate who cares for you. Kami knows why. Enough. If you don't require assistance, I'll end this, Haku said as she prepared to throw Senbon at the Uchiha. If you want to help, fine, Sasuke said with a smirk as he substituted himself with Naruto. Naruto shook his head as multiple Senbons surrounded. Kuruma. The fox nodded and sprouted 4 of his tails out of Naruto's backside and covered him, protecting him from the onslaught. Thank you. No problem, Kit. I want to end the Uchiha for that stunt, Kuruma said. Naruto chuckled and surprised Haku. That won't work, so why don't you come out? Naruto said. What was that? Haku asked. Something you don't need to worry about unless you continue to oppose me. Naruto charged forward to one of the ice mirrors, but Haku wasn't worried since it was hard to break, but that changed when Naruto's eyes turned red and shattered the mirror she was in. Haku jumped out a piece of the mirror and went for a kick towards Naruto. Naruto grabbed her ankle and tossed her to a mirror, but instead of slamming into the mirror, she went into it. Naruto searched around for her until he sensed her above him, diving at him with a Senbon in her hand. Naruto backflipped away, dodging the attack. Haku got up and her sense of danger went off. She looked up to see Naruto in front of her. Hi, Naruto said before he uppercut her and kicked her towards a mirror with so much force, the mirror shattered. Haku bounced on the bridge and rolled on it, not getting up. Naruto stopped using the Kyuubi's chakra and walked towards the girl. Are you done? Haku slowly got up. Yeah, go ahead and you can kill me. I lost, which means I have no purpose. Haku-chan, you are my friend. I could never kill you, and besides, our target is Gato, Naruto said, making the girl's eyes widen. You knew it was me? Haku asked. Of course, Naruto said, holding out her hand. And don't worry about the mummy. My sensei will make sure Kakashi doesn't kill him. Haku's eyes widened and she hugged the blonde. Thank you, Haku mumbled in his chest. Naruto hugged her back before he turned his body and blocked a kunai from Sasuke. What are you doing? She's an enemy, Sasuke said. Not to me. And don't think I forgot about your switcheroo, Naruto said, releasing some ki towards the Uchiha. Sasuke started to sweat and backed down. Naruto touched a seal near his ear and channeled chakra into it. Mabui-chan, Make sure you keep Zabuza alive. I defeated Haku. Affirmative, Naruto-kun. I'm watching closely. Mabui said. Naruto nodded and channeled more chakra into the seal for the long-distance call. Samui-chan, Yujito-chan, how's the hunt going? Naruto asked through the seal. Gato left before we got here, but he had a lot of treasure and scrolls. We put them in some sealing scrolls and heading to your location. Yujito said. It's uncool, but I think he's going to try and kill you guys. But he's a fool thinking numbers matter. Samui said. Naruto nodded and looked down at Haku. Gato's headed here to kill us. He probably thinks you and Team 7 are tired from battle, but he doesn't know we're here. Naruto said. Haku separated from the blonde and nodded. All right, let's head to our sensei location. The two ran to their senseis. Zabuza was surprised, not because he was pinned down by dogs, or because Kakashi was about to end his life. He was shocked because the Kumo-nin was protecting him. Move out the way, Mabui-san. No, I have my reasons, Mabui said. And would you like to inform me? Kakashi asked. It's because of Gato, Naruto said, appearing next to Mabui alongside Haku. He's on his way here. Scratch that. He's already here. Wow, look at this. The demon is nothing but a puppy, Gato said, walking out the mist. Gato, why have you come? Zabuza asked, narrowing his eyes. Missing means are so expensive, but these guys are reasonable, and since you are weak from your fight, your bounty will be a great reward for your sacrifice, Gato said as 50 thugs appeared behind him. Zabuza was about to speak, but Naruto stepped forward. It's too bad you're about to die, Naruto said, as Yujito and Samui jumped up to the bridge and landed next to Naruto. Brat, do you have any idea who you are talking to? Gato said, glaring at Naruto before he turned to Haku and smirked. Well, it seems he is actually a she, Gato said. Haku was confused and looked down and saw the straps were undone. And we have a lot of beautiful women who we can break. What was that, you overbloated pig? Naruto asked. That does it. Whoever kills the blonde brat gets first pick at the ladies, but I want the tanned one, Gato said, making the 4 Kumo-nins angry. Soon the whole area was covered in killer intent. Kakashi and Zabuza's eyes widened when they felt the ki from the Kumo-nin. Haku fell to her knees, and the Konoha Genin passed out. Naruto's head was down, and he slowly looked up at Gato, eyes crimson red and slit. Gato, I will not let you touch my girls, Naruto said as he got on all 4 like a fox. And I will not let you kill my mate, Yujito added, getting on all 4 with her eyes gold and slit. Rapist is uncool, and you will die, Samui said, activating her lightning armor. Prepare for your end. You'll pay for threatening Naruto-kun, Mabui said as she activated her thunder armor. Naruto and Yujito were covered in a red cloak with one tail. Gato slowly backed away. What are you waiting for? Kill him, Gato yelled. Kill them all, girls, Naruto ordered. Hi. The 4 charged the group of mercenaries and slashed through all of the mercenaries, creating a bloodbath all over the bridge. Kakashi was startled by what he was witnessing, and Zabuza felt pride. So I wasn't sure what to feel, and Haku was blushing when Naruto said his girl. Gato fell to his butt and was scared. He just witnessed all his hired help being slaughtered. Naruto appeared in front of the businessman and grabbed him by the throat. What now, Gato? You're all alone. Please, don't kill me. I'll give you anything you want, Gato begged. Sorry, but it's our mission, Naruto said as he tossed Gato in the air. Kitsune Crimson Flare Bomb. Nico Scorching Mouse Missile, Yujito said. Laser Circuit, Samui said. Thunder Spear, Mabui said as all the Kumo-nin unleashed their jutsu at the falling man, blowing him up. Naruto and Yujito's chakra cloak receded inside of them, and they took a deep breath as Samui and Mabui deactivated their armor. Mission complete, Mabui said with a smile. What, you're leaving? Kakashi asked as he stood in front of the Kumo team. It's been 2 days since the death of the tyrant known as Gato. Kakashi was able to teach the blonde his signature jutsu, and they helped repair the bridge a bit. Zabuza and Haku left to help Kiri in the war. They were outside of Tezuna's house currently with Kakashi, Tsunami, Tezuna, and Inari standing in front of the Kumo-nin. Yeah, our mission is complete, and we have a long way home, Mabui said. Kakashi sighed and looked at Naruto. Well, will you be attending the Chunin exam in Konoha in a month? Naruto turned to Mabui, and she gave him a nod. Naruto looked at Kakashi and smiled. Yeah, plus I do miss Gigi. That's good, Kurenai said. Anko will be happy to see you again. And so will Hinata. Naruto gave a sad smile. I miss Hibiheim. Hope she's not mad at me. Don't worry, she understood your situation. Kurenai reassured the blonde. Cool, let's keep it a surprise for her. I might have to treat her to some dango, and I miss Ichirakas. Naruto said. Yujito and Samui smile at Naruto. Seeing their favorite fellow blonde happy was good considering what happened to him as a kid. Kurenai smiled and nodded. Sure, and Naruto-kun. I'm still sorry, Kurenai said with guilt. It's water under the bridge, Naruto said. Kurenai approached the blonde and pecked him on the cheek, making him blush. Naruto-kun is ours, Samui said, pulling the blonde towards her. Yujito nodded and wrapped her arms around Naruto's neck from behind. Team, it's time to leave, Mabui said as the team headed back to Kumo. Naruto turned his head and waved at them before the team disappeared. Good job, missing success, said. He turned to Naruto and frowned. Naruto, how are you feeling? I'm fine, Naruto said. Nodded and leaned back in his chair. Now that we know that the Chunin exam is coming, I'm going to have you and the other 3 train, but you'll train with your partners. Naruto and Samui, Fu and Karui and Yujito and Omoi. Also Naruto and Fu need to learn to sustain their bijou forms, said. Of course, we'll train until we sweat, Samui said. Yeah, we'll be the strongest team there, Naruto said. Good, but Naruto, there's one man I want you to be wary of when you enter the exam. Naruto raises an eyebrow and listened to A. What? Naruto-kun is in Kumo? Hiruzen asked. Kakashi and Kurenai gave him the report of the mission, and to say he had mixed feelings was the truth. He was happy the blonde was alive, but was afraid because Kumo has another Jinchuriki, and they was known to train them well. Sir, considering the situation, why not invite them to the Chunin exams? If we can get them as allies, Naruto will be free to visit, Kakashi suggested. Hiruzen thought about it and nodded. I'll send a letter to Kumo and Kiri. Maybe we can start anew. A month later, Team Ragnarok and Team Aegis arrived at Konoha. Naruto didn't want to admit it, but he was feeling kind of nervous. His former home he ran away from and the memories that were coming back to him. Naruto-kun, it's all right. Naruto turned to Fu, who held his hand. We are in this together, after all. You're my first friend. Naruto gave Fu a warm smile and hugged her tightly, giving her a deep kiss. Fu was entranced by the kiss and couldn't focus. Okay, enough, Karui said, folding her arms in jealousy. Naruto noticed and decided to give her a kiss, shocking the redhead. When Naruto pulled back, Karui was in a daze with a small smile. Man, what am I going to do? What if a lot of girls fall for me and want me to stay here and I'll end up breaking their hearts, making them suffer and want revenge? Omoi began. Omoi, you're being uncool, Samui said in a cold tone. All right, let's get this show on the road. Show how mean this team can be. B said, making everyone groan but Omoi and Naruto. When they approached the gate, they saw 2 Chunin standing there. Halt, passports. B and Mabui walked forward, handing the Chunin their passports. After looking at it, their eyes widened, and they looked up at the students until their eyes landed on Naruto. Naruto, you're alive. Yeah, Naruto said. Do you mind if we head in? Mabui asked. Sure, everything checks out. Hope you enjoy your stay, Kotisu said. The Kumo teams nodded and proceeded into Konoha. As they walked through, the villagers were staring at them, but mostly Naruto and shocked. It's Namikaze-sama. He's alive. The 4Th's legacy. He's kinda cute. The villagers whispered back and forth. Here's the plan. I'll go book us a hotel. Naruto-kun, you can go see the Hokage and your other friend, Mabui said. Naruto gave her a warm smile and proceeded to the Hokage tower. Naruto ran on the roofs of the building and jumped up to the Hokage's tower. He climbed through the window and saw multiple Jonin leaving the room. Hey Gigi. Hiruzen's eyes widened and turned to the window. When he saw Naruto, tears began to build in his eyes. Naruto-kun, you're here, the Hokage said, getting up and walking towards the blonde. Naruto hugged the old man and it was returned. I'm glad to see you again. Same here, G. Sorry I made you worry and left, Naruto said. I understand why it happened, and I do not blame you, Hiruzen said. So how's life in Kumo? Naruto gave him a foxy grin. It's great. I made some friends, and I'm one of the strongest genin there. I assume there's no way to convince you to stay in Konoha. The village changed their views on you, and they won't hate you anymore. Hiruzen asked with hope. Sorry, Gigi, but I won't abandon them, Naruto said. Hiruzen patted the boy's shoulder and shook his head. I understand. They gave you the love you always wanted, and I can't blame you. Thank you. By the way, do you know where Hibi-chan is? Naruto asked. As a matter of fact, I do. She's at the dango stand. She's in charge of the second stage, so I told her no missions. Hiruzen said, sitting at his desk. Naruto nodded and walked towards the window. And Naruto-kun, welcome back. Naruto gave Hiruzen a small smile. It's good to see you again, Naruto said before jumping out the window. Naruto landed on the roof of a building and headed to the dango stand to see his first friend. Hibi-chan, Naruto thought. After a few more seconds of running, he saw the restaurant and landed on the street. He walked through the curtains and scanned through the room until he saw a lavender fan-haired Hibi-chan. Anko's eyes widened, and she dropped her dango before turning around. She gasped when she saw her blonde friend waving at her, and she did the first thing she could think of, which was tackling the blonde and hugging him to death. Naruto was chuckling as Anko kept pecking him on the cheek. He knew that Anko would miss him, and he missed her just as much. I missed you so much, Foxy-kun. When I found out you disappeared, I didn't know what to do, Anko said with tears in her eyes and wiped them, with a proud smile on her face. But I knew you would survive. I missed you too, Hibi-chan, Naruto said. Sorry for worrying you. The villagers chased me out, and I was scared, Naruto said, hugging her tightly. It's fine, I understand. Anko responded and grabbed his hand. Let's go to Ichiraku's. I will be happy to see you, and wow, Anko said all of a sudden. What? Naruto asked. I now realize how much of a hunk you have become. Maybe we should go out later, Anko suggested and got close to his ears, and make up for lost time. Naruto smirked and nibbled on her ear, making her moan. I would love to, Naruto responded, making her blush. But you have to meet the other girls. Anko pulled her head back and tilted her head. You have a harem? Yeah, the RAIKAGE wants to restore my clan and allow me to take multiple wives. Well, it was either that or piss off 5 kunoichi with one being his daughter. Naruto jokes. Well, do you have room for one more? Anko said, hugging the blonde. I really missed you, Foxy-kun. Naruto blushed and gave her a warm smile. I'll always have room for you. Anko smiled, and the two headed to Ichiraku's, holding hands. When they arrived, Anko looked at Naruto with a knowing look. Hey old man, can I get some good ramen here? Naruto yelled. Huh, well of course you, Naruto, is that you? Tsuchi asked, eyeing the kid he used to give free ramen to. You know it, Naruto replied. By God, I knew you would return. Come out here, Tsuchi called his daughter. What is it, Tsu-san? Asked her dad, coming from the kitchen. She turned to the counter and gasped when she saw spiky blonde hair. Naruto-kun. Yeep, our little fox is back, Anko said. Ran around the counter and hugged the blonde between her breasts. I'm so happy you're back, said. Naruto smiled and hugged her back. It's good to see you, Naruto replied. Do you mind if we join you? Naruto and the two girls turned to see his team and Samui's team there. Samui-chan, of course, Naruto said as Samui sat next to Naruto and turned to Anko. You must be Anko-san. It's finally nice to meet you after all this time. Naruto-kun always talked about you. And who are you? Anko asked. I'm the leader of Team Aegis and Naruto's future second wife, Samui said. Second wife? Who's the first? Anko asked. You are, of course. I assume you like Naruto-kun, and since you're his first friend, it makes sense. Samui answered like it was obvious. Anko stared at the platinum blonde before smirking. I like you. What about the rest of you? I'm Fu, and I'm a part of Team Ragnarok. Naruto-kun is our leader. Let's be friends since we're harem sisters, Fu said. Anko stared at the girl and scratched her cheek. Honestly, you seem like the type I should say sexual comments to. I don't understand, but I feel like protecting you. We understand, the Kumo shinobi said at once, confusing Fu. I'm Yujito Ni. Nice to meet you, and for the record, I'm the second wife. Debatable, Samui said. Anko leaned close to Yujito's face and smiled. Love the sexy eyes. Yujito blushed and looked away. I'm Karui. Nice to meet ya, Karui said, folding her arms. You got spunk, I love it, Anko commented. And I'm Omoi, Omoi said with a small wave. You seem kinda lazy, Anko said, unimpressed. Omoy just shrugged, and the group ordered some ramen. Naruto's eyes widened for a bit, and he put on a smile and activated the chakra seal behind his ear. Guys, we're being watched. Act natural. I'm pretty sure I'm his target. How many, Naruto-kun? Samui asked. I feel 5 chakra signatures. Naruto responded. Could it be the thing that Asama told us about? Omoy asked. Naruto nodded, and the group proceeded with their meal. Ah, that was good. Anyway, I have to get ready for the Chunin exam. It was nice seeing you again, Foxy-kun. Anko said before pecking him on the cheek and shunshin away. All right, I'm going to walk around a bit. See you girls later. Naruto said, looking at Fu's and Yujito's eyes, giving them a message, which they understood. Samui-chan, can let Mabui-chan and B-sensei know? Of course, Naruto-kun. Samui said as she, Karui, and Omoy left. I'll see you later, Ayam-chan. Naruto said, earning away from Ayam. Naruto started to walk away from his team, humming a tune. It seems I was correct. I am their target, and I can't sense their emotions. They're definitely rude. Naruto walked out a random ally and stopped. You can come out now, Naruto said, with his hands in his pocket. 5 root nines appeared and surrounded the blonde. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, our leader would like to speak with you, one of the roots said. Really? And why would he like to speak to me? Naruto responded in an uninterested manner. It's because you are not where you are supposed to be, a man said, walking out the shadow. It was an old man with a cane and a bandaged eye. Kid, this guy is oozing with darkness, and he has a Sharingan behind his eye. Kuruma said. Yeah, I felt a different signature coming from his eye and arm. Naruto responded. So who are you exactly? Naruto asked. My name is Danzo, and I'm the Shadow Hokage. I protect the big tree from the shadows and will eliminate any threats that come to harm it. Danzo said. I see. Well, you are lucky I'm not here to harm the village since my father sacrificed his life for the village, and I'm not really revenge-heavy. Naruto said. Even if that's true, your father made you the Kyuubi Jinchuriki to be a weapon for Konoha. You should serve this village the weapon you are supposed to be. Danzo said. You better get your facts straight. My father wanted me to be seen as a hero, not a weapon, and a father would never make their son a weapon, especially mine. Naruto said before his eyes turned crimson with slits. Silence. You will not speak to Danzo-sama rudely. One of the root nines said. Fodder shouldn't speak or they'll die. Naruto said. I see you learned to use the beast powers. You done well to control the fox's chakra, but it's about time you return. I'll even help you become Hokage if you wish. Danzo said. You are Konoha's property, and it'll be wise to return. I refuse. Sorry, but Konoha had its chance. I'm not returning, and that's that. Naruto said. I see. Danzo said before turning his back to Naruto. How unfortunate. Root, capture him for reconditioning. Danzo ordered and began to walk away. He stopped when he heard blood splattered. Don't damage dash. He paused when he saw all his root nin dead. How did you kill them by yourself? I'm not by myself. Naruto said, nodding his head upwards. Danzo looked up and saw Yujito sitting on the edge of the roof and Fu crouching down across from her. Naruto-kun knew he was being followed and had us follow him. Yujito said. We were warned about you by AG. Naruto said. And we are aware that your root is not authorized, so we can kill them. And it'll be unwise for you to attack me. Danzo said. You'll start a war between Kumo and Konoha. A war we will win. B said, appearing. Konoha will get dis if we are pissed. We are 2 no more, but instead we are 4. What are you saying? Danzo responded. In English terms, let me ask you this. Naruto said as he and the other Jinchuriki surrounded themselves with a chakra cloak. How will Konoha handle 4 Jinchurikis? Danzo's eye widened. 4? They double on Jinchurikis and knowing that they can use the beast powers, indeed Konoha will be a risk. I can't make an enemy out of them, and the RAIKAGE was smart enough to warn them about me. I can still try to convince Naruto to come back, but I'll need help. Fine, I'll stay out of your way. I'm not foolish enough to challenge for perfect Jinchuriki. I can't wait to see what you can do in the exams, Danzo said before leaving. He looked at his team and gave them a thumbs up. Good job you 3. Way to make him flee. But seriously, if he gives you another bad time, make him die. Go at Mr. 9. Got it, Naruto said. He nodded and left for the hotel. How about the 3 of us go walk around the village? Sure, I want to see if I can make some new friends. Fu said, wrapping around Naruto's arm. Yujito followed suit, and grabbed his other arm. As they walked, they saw two blurs running past them. Wasn't that the fangirl? Yeah, she was chasing a little boy, Naruto said. I'm kind of curious. Fu said. Curiosity kills the cat, Yujito said, making Naruto chuckle at the cat joke. The three followed the two by roof and saw the boy being held by a Sunanin. Now that cat is ugly, Yujito said. 2 for 2 missed 2 tails? Naruto jokes, earning a punch on the arm. When the Sunanin was about to punch the kid, Naruto appeared and grabbed the boy's fist. Now there's nothing I hate more than bullying. Naruto brought out his blade and pointed it at Kankuro's throat. Temari saw this and grabbed her fan, but stopped when she felt something sharp on the side of her neck. Don't move, I'll hate to shed some blood early. Temari looked behind her and saw Yujito smirking at her. Namikaze-kun, you're here. Sakura cheered with heart in her eyes. Namikaze? As in the son of the Yondaime. Temari said. Hey guys. These two guys were spying. Fu said, sitting on a tree branch. Under her was Gaara, and Sasuke jumped from the tree and glared at the two. I didn't sense him, and when did she get behind me? The Uchiha thought. Kankuro, don't forget why we are here. Gaara said, jumping and landing next to his siblings. Act up again, and I'll kill you. Gaara said, releasing some ki that starred everyone but the Kumonins. Kit/Fu/Mistress. The redhead boy holds Shikaku, the one-tail. The Bijus informed their host. Naruto, Fu and Yujito's eyes widened and looked at the redhead. Well, this is a surprise. Yujito said, backing away from Temari and jumped next to Naruto, with Fu following. Yeah, Shikaku's host, Naruto said, making the Sunanin's eyes widened. What? How do they know that? Temari asked herself. This is bad. How did they figure it out? Kankuro said. But he doesn't look friendly. Fu said, walking to Gaara and extending her hand. Want to be friends? Gaara just stared at the girl. If you and your team don't want to die, you will get away from me. Fu started to chuckle darkly, which surprised everyone but her team. Listen, Raccoon, I was trying to be nice, but when you threaten someone, make sure you know who you threaten and you can back it up. I also never threaten the people I care about. Fu said, releasing some ki. Let me introduce myself. I'm Fu, lucky number 7. Everyone but the Jinchuriki fell to their knees. I'm number 2, the name's Yujito. Yujito introduced. And I'm number 9. My name is Naruto. Naruto introduced. Gaara smirked and gave a sadistic smile. 3. Kumo has a full team of Jinchurikis, and they are superior to Gaara's. This is bad. If they interfere with the plan, Suna is done for. Temari thought, with a pale face. I will kill you 3. Come on, Temari, Kankuro. Gaara said as the 3 walked away. Fu stopped the ki and approached Konohamaru. Are you okay? The ugly boy didn't hurt you? Fu asked, making Naruto laugh. No, thanks One-chan. Konohamaru said and turned to the Kumo team. You guys were amazing. Thanks kid. You and your friends go along now. Konohamaru nodded and left. Thanks for your help, Sakura said, approaching Naruto. No problem, Naruto replied. Sakura turned to Fu with a confused look. Who's she? I thought Samui Baka was your teammate. Sakura said. Oh, Samui was just taking her place. This is Fu, she's our teammate. Anyway, we should get going, Naruto said as his team walked away. Naruto's and Samui's team were in a big exam room that was filled with genin. Naruto, do you see anyone that might be a threat? Yujito asked. Samui looked around and frowned. Everyone seems weak, but the Suna team. Naruto nodded. I agree. I can't even feel any chakra from the guy wearing the green spandex. Plus the Konoha rookie chakra level is high chunin at best, Naruto said, making Yujito glare at them, which was noticed by Karui. What's wrong with you? Karui asked. The blonde with the ponytail and Pinky is talking about Naruto-kun. They're planning on making a move on him. Yujito answered. Naruto blushed, and the girls glared at the fangirls. Omoi patted Naruto's shoulder. I feel sorry for you, man. It's whatever. I'm happy with my girls and can't ask for anything more, Naruto said, making his girlfriends blush. They saw a boy with glasses approach the rookies. I want information on Gaara, Rock Lee, and Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Naruto heard Sasuke say to the guy with glasses. And I want to know about Samui Baka, Sakura said, making Samui eyes narrow at the pinkette. Jealous bitch, Samui muttered. Karui chuckled. What did you do to her? Karui asked. I call her weak. She is the kunoichi of the year, but she's a fangirl. Samui said, folding her arms under her bosom. Rock Lee, he's a year older than you guys. Mission experience, 20 D ranks and 11 C ranks. His squad leader is Guy, and in the last 12 months, his taijutsu has radically improved, but his other skills are dull. Last year, he got a lot of attention as a genin, but for some unknown reason, decided not to participate in the Chunin exams. This will be his first time like you guys, and his teammates are Niji Hyuga and Tenten Higurashi. Kabuto said. A taijutsu specialist. Naruto said and smirked. Would love to test my skills against him. Gaara of Suna. 8 C ranks and get this, 1 B rank. He was a rookie from another land, originally. But this is where it gets scary. He survived every mission without getting a scratch on him. There's no information on his skills. He survived a B rank as a genin and didn't even get a scratch on him, Shikamaru said in disbelief. Sasuke just stared at the card. Now Naruto, Uzumaki Namikaze. Wow, if you thought the last guy was something, listen to this. He joined Kyumo when he was 6 years old and became the #1 student in the 3rd year. There's nothing about his skills, but just like Gaara, he never received a scratch on a mission, but he started to take missions when he was 11 alongside Samui. He completed 20 D ranks, 13 C ranks, 3 B ranks, and 2 A ranks. One thing to know is he's an expert at Fuinjutsu. Naruto narrowed his eyes. How does he know that? But he doesn't know about my bloodline. Now Samui. She has no last name, but her mission log is the same as Naruto's. All I know is that she's on par with Naruto, and apparently they have a duo team theme. She's just as dangerous. Kabuto said. How did he not receive a scratch on B and A rank missions? Kiba asked in disbelief. Naruto just looked at them and waved. Don't worry guys, I don't bite. Naruto teased. Everyone started to mumble and glance at the Kyumo team. Naruto felt killer intent and turned to the source. It was Niji, and he was glaring at them. What's his problem? Naruto asked himself. He then saw the sound Nin charged Kabuto, but the glasses-wearing boy dodged. Naruto was surprised when the boy's glasses cracked, even though he swore the boy dodged. Then he looked at the headband and realized. Sound huh, that'll be fun. Alright, that's enough. Ibuki said. Next time you pull some shit like this, you're out of here. Now everyone in the class, now Naruto, and his team walked in, and when he walked past Kabuto, his eyes widened. What the hell? Naruto said. You noticed. Yujito said. What happened? Samui asked. Kabuto smells like snakes, weird. Naruto said, but it smells slightly similar to Anko. Alright, everyone sit down, and we're beginning the first part of the exam. All you have to do is answer the 10 questions, and if one person on your team fails, you all fail. If you cheat, we'll deduct points from your score. Now flip over your paper, and you may begin. Ibuki ordered. Do you guys understand? Naruto asked through a communication seal. Sorry, not really, but it's weird he won't fail us for cheating. Fu said, then her eyes widened. Oh, I get it. So we have to cheat, basically information gathering. Yujito said. Yeah, so what's the plan? Karui asked. First, Omoi, are there any questions you can't answer? I know 2 and 3. Naruto asked his best friend. This is difficult, but I have 1 and 7. Omoi said. I have 2. Samui said. All right, let's begin. Naruto said as he passed the answer to his teams. Omoi followed, and Samui was last. All right, Fuchan, send your beetles to target Sakura and one of the people with high-level chakra. Hi, Naruto-kun. Fu responded and sent a signal to the beetles around the area. Shino flinched. He felt his bugs becoming disturbed, but didn't know why. A few beetles came through the room and started to fly to the ceiling. All right, I got some. The Kyumo team began to write the rest of the answers down. All right, put down your pencils. Ibuki ordered. Kankuro came in with a smirk. Did you have fun with your dolls? Kankuro flinched and proceeded to his seat. Now, you all have one final question, and let me warn you, if you get it wrong, you fail and remain a genin forever. What? You can't do that. Temari yelled in disbelief. Sit down, I make the rules. Now, if you don't want to take the question, feel free to leave and try again next year. Ibuki said as he looked at the students. His eyes landed on Kyumo and frowned. Samui just had a passive look. Fu was humming with a big smile and Naruto was just grinning. That's Minato-sama's brat. He looks powerful. You spiky hair blonde. Do you feel like quitting? No way, Scarface. Naruto retorted, making some of the people giggle. I don't care about ranks. Strength is all that matters. I'll still become the strongest nin in the world, Databeo. That's our Naruto-kun. Naruto-kun is so cool. Naruto-kun always makes things fun. Damn straight Naruto. Naruto always has to show off. Yujito, Samui, Fu, Karui, and Omoi thought at the same time. This brat got guts. For those who stayed, you pass. You showed your willingness to take risks even with a high chance of failure. Ibuki said. I see. You were flushing out the cowards. Sako asked. That's right. You can lose your life anytime. Now dash. Ibuki started, but a purple blur went through the window and landed on Naruto. Hey Foxy-kun, I see you still here. Enko said, while straddling the blonde. How did you know where to land? Naruto asked. My Naru instincts guide me. Enko replied. Enko, get on with it. Ibuki ordered. Find you walking scratching post. Enko said. Ibuki rubbed his temples. I swear you two are made for each other. Ibuki said. Enko just chuckled and stood up. All right, maggots, sexy big-breast blonde and Foxy-kun. Follow me. Enko said before she jumped out the window. Samui tilted her head and looked at herself. Is my boobs that big? Samui asked and looked at her boyfriend while holding her breast. Is it bad? No, not at all. I like everything about you. Naruto responded, earning a small smile from Samui. Naruto turned his head and saw the guy staring at Samui, making his eyes slit. Turn around. Samui is taken. The guy panicked under the key. I'm so turned on. Matabi said from within Yujito, earning a nod from her container. All right, team, let's go. Naruto said as he led his Kumo team outside. Ino just stared at the spot Naruto was in and she was blushing. She always wanted a guy to be possessive of her. Seeing Naruto doing that made her feel warm. Forehead was right. Naruto is hot. Welcome everyone to the Forest of Death. Enko said, standing in front of a gate and a forest. This is where the second part of the exam will take place. Your objective is to take a scroll from another team. You will be issued an Earth or Heaven scroll. You'll need one of each and make it to the tower in the center of the forest. If you open the scroll, you're in for a nasty surprise. What about food? Choji asked. There's a lot of edible animals and plants in the forest, but be careful because they might eat you. Enko said, making the genin shiver. I'm so excited. Naruto said as he felt a kunai fly patch his cheek. He spun around and wrapped his arms around a surprised Enko. Hey Hibiheim, I'm not going to just let you get the jump on me. Enko smirked at the remark. Oh yeah? I bet you didn't see this coming. Enko said before smashing her lips onto the blondes. Naruto's eyes closed and returned it. Every genin around him was blushing. Naruto then sensed something and pulled out his sword and pointed at a kunoichi with a long tongue. Enko was confused and looked at the kunoichi. Sorry, but I get overly excited. Here's your kunai, the kunoichi said. Thanks Kusa ninja, but be careful or you could lose your life. Enko said. I'll keep that in mind. Naruto just stared at the kunoichi and walked back to his team. All right, you'll each send one teammate to collect the scroll. Enko instructed. Oh, can I do it? Fu asked. Sure Fu-chan, go ahead. Naruto said. I'll go collect the scroll. Karui said, earning a nod from the platinum blonde. After every team had at least one scroll, Enko decided to continue. All right, you have a week to get to the center of the forest, and just to give you a piece of advice. Just don't die. Enko ordered as the team dived into the forest. Enko turned and saw Team War Beast outside the gate, just standing. Foxy-kun, you can go now. Yeah, we know. I was just thinking that this forest would be more fun if it had real monsters. Naruto said with a sadistic smirk. Don't you agree, girls? Naruto said as he got on all four. Yujito and Fu matched his smirk and got on their palms. Then a red cloak appeared around them. Naruto and Yujito let out a roar and Fu started to fly. The three disappeared in a blur into the forest. Enko just stared at the spot the group were in and blushed. I'm so turned on. Enko said and smiled. It's good to see Foxy again. Team War Beast was jumping through the trees in their cloak forms, and Naruto decided to land in the clearing. Why did we stop, Naruto-kun? Yujito asked. She couldn't sense any enemies nearby. The three deactivate their cloak. Naruto just gave a foxy grin. I know this is a team-based exercise, but how about we test our abilities a little? Okay, but how? Fu asked, tilting her head. Well, let's play a game. Oh, I like games. Fu cheered to the amusement of her teammates. I know Fu-chan, we all do. Since working together would make us overpowered, I thought we should split up and see who can get the Earth Scroll first. The losers have to do what the winner asks. Naruto explained. Yujito smirked at the challenge. Anything. This is your chance, kitten. You can ride the stud all the way home. Matabi said. Quiet, Matabi. Yujito ordered. I'm in, this will be fun. Fu said. We're lucky, Fu. We'll win. Chomei said, with Fu nodding in agreement. You better win, Kit. This is your chance to get laid. Kuruma said with a giggle. You perverted fox bastard. Naruto chased. Message us through the seal, just in case you find trouble. The two girls nodded. All right, ready, go. Naruto said as they went into different directions. With Team 8, they were hiding in the bushes as they saw the Sand team confront a team from Aim Nin. Akamaru was whimpering in fear. Calm down, boy. Hiba whispered. Wow, look what we have here. Sunanin, how about you make it easier for us and give us your scroll? The middle Rain Nin said. How about you scram before you die? Kankuro responded. You hear that, Shigeru? These three think they can take us on. One of the other Rain Nins said. I'm not sure if we should waste our time with these losers. Kankuro said. We're not even sure if they have the scrolls we need. It doesn't matter. They were foolish enough to approach me. They will die, Gaara said, stepping forward. Do not interfere. Gaara ordered his siblings. Fine, if you want to die so badly. Take this, ninja art, Sanban Rainstorm. My attack will rain blood. The Rain Nin threw his umbrellas in the air, and it started to spin as a lot of needles came out of the umbrellas. The Senbons started to circle around Gaara. I can control Senbons with my chakra. There's no blind spot and my accuracy is 100%. Now you die. The Senbon closed in on Gaara, creating an explosion. Huh, he was too scared to move. Shigeru said as Gaara's body disappeared in the dust, laughing triumphantly. Is that all? Shigeru stopped laughing and looked through the dust. His eyes widened when Gaara was standing in the same spot, unharmed by the attack. Is that the best you can do? But that's impossible, Shigeru said in disbelief. It's impossible to harm Gaara if he's in the slightest danger. His sand will rush to his aid and protect, and he doesn't have to move a muscle. Kankuro, you said you wanted it to rain blood. Then I'll show you an attack that'll make it rain blood. Sand coffin, Gaara said as he lifted his hand toward Shigeru. Sand started to surround the Aim Nin, and Shigeru dropped his umbrellas as he was lifted in the air by the sand. I just have to cover your big mouth, and you'll be dead. But that'll be too boring. Gaara opened the umbrella and covered himself. Sand burial. Gaara squeezed his hand, killing Shigeru. Wait, we surrender. Shigeru teammate said. Here, take our scroll. Gaara ignored the plea and covered both of them in sand. And no, please, stop. Sand burial. Gaara squeezed both of his hands and killed the two Aim Nin. Kankuro walked up to the scroll and smiled when he saw it. Well, what do you know? It's a heaven scroll. How lucky are we? Not as lucky as the number 7. The Sand trio turned around, and behind Gaara was Fu, giggling. So here's the deal. I'm going to need your Earth Scroll. You must be out of your mind if you think we're going to hand over our scroll to you, Temari said with a hand on her hips. Is this girl really a Jinchuriki? Fine. I didn't want to be mean, but I'm going to have to take it, Fu said with her happy smile, turning to a sadistic smirk. By force. Temari and Kankuro felt high heat coming from the female Jinchuriki and started to tremble. What's this? I can't move, Kankuro thought. She's not to be underestimated. She's more dangerous than I thought, Temari thought, sweating a bit. She's mine, Gaara said, stepping forward. Fu just chuckled with her arms behind her back. Fine, I'll play with you a bit. Fu responded, not scared at all. Gaara sent sand tendrils towards Fu, but Fu dodged with ease by doing a flip and balancing on her hand. Gaara sent more sand towards the girl, but Fu was able to dodge with her flexibility. This is a fun game of tag, but you have to do better. Gaara was getting irritated and started to use his hand to make the sand go faster. Fu jumped in the air and released a dust made of scales from her mouth towards the Ichibi Jinchuriki. What are you doing? Gaara asked as he sent more sand towards Fu. Fu grew some beetle wings and dodged the sand with ease with her increased speed, charging towards Gaara. Sand spear. Gaara sent sand towards Fu with unimaginable speed, piercing the girl. Gaara smirked at first, but it disappeared when Fu faded and turned to scales. I'm here. Gaara turned around and was roundhouse kicked by the girl, sending him to a tree branch. Temari and Kankuro gasped that there was someone who was able to breach Gaara's defenses. Gaara was hit. This girl is not to be underestimated. This is bad. I didn't think there would be someone who could oppose Gaara, the siblings thought in amazement. Fu floated in the air with a smile. This was really fun, but I have to go now. Thanks for this, Fu said, holding up a scroll. Gaara's eyes widened as he patted down his shirt. You will die. Gaara sent sand tendrils towards Fu, but Fu surrounded herself with a crystal sphere, blocking the sand. She has a bloodline too? Temari asked in disbelief. Well, I gotta go Gaara-kun, Temari-chan, Cat-san. Hopefully we can be friends later, Fu said as she took off in the sky and flew away. Gaara started to leak ki. I'm going to spill her blood when I see that foolish girl. Temari and Kankuro backed away from Gaara, who was angry. We have to get an earth scroll again, Kankuro said. Fine, let's go find our next prey, Gaara said, still thinking about murdering the mint-haired girl. Yujito was pretending to file her nails as she was surrounded by illusion clones the AIM Nines created. Surrender your scroll or die, one of them said. Yujito just smiled and started walking through them, shocking the Nin. Some kunai flew towards Yujito, but she just tilted her head, humming. What are you doing? Another Nin asked. Yujito just smiled before answering. I'm a censor Nin and illusions don't work on me, she said. The leader's eyes widened when he realized the situation. She knows where we are. Yujito smirked before disappearing in a blur, then grabbed the throat of one of the Nin. Now what were your words again? It was surrender your scroll. Yujito's grip got tighter, causing the Nin to choke. Or die. The two other AIM Nin charged Yujito to ambush her, but Yujito turned to them and blew blue fire towards them, burning them. She turned back to the last, who was panicking in fear. He reached in his pouch and grabbed the scroll, handing it to Yujito. Damn, another heaven scroll. Yujito threw the mail to a tree. Your friend is still alive, Yujito said before jumping away in some trees. Yujito's eyes widened when she sensed some huge level of chakra and followed it. She landed on a branch and saw a bear was about to kill a redhead girl with glasses. Yujito landed in between the bear and the girl. Her eyes turned yellow. Back off. The bear got scared and went away. Are you okay? The girl collected herself and nodded. Thank you. My name is Karen Uzumaki. Yujito's eyes widened. Did you say Uzumaki? Where the hell is everyone? Naruto asked. He's been searching for 20 minutes, and the only other group of shinobi he saw was corpses. As he was jumping, he heard a huge bang and decided to follow the direction. It took him a few seconds to reach his destination and saw Lee getting beat by a couple of sound ninjas. Sakura was being held by the female sound nin. What should I do? I guess I'll help them for Gigi. You are too kind, Kit. But 3 against 1 would be fun to watch. Kurama commented. Naruto just smiled. Wind armor. Naruto chanted as his body was surrounded by the wind, and in a burst of speed, he appeared next to Kin and palmed her chest, sending her flying. Sakura fell to her hands and knees, coughing. She looked up and saw Naruto next to her. Naruto-kun. Stay back, I'll handle this, Naruto said with a confident smile. Sakura blushed and smiled lovingly. You shouldn't have interfered, Dosa said, glaring at Naruto. This weakling tried and fell. You're next if you don't leave. Zaka jumped next to Dosu with a sarcastic smirk. Let's just get rid of the trash, Zaka said, extending his hand towards Naruto. Take this. Decapitation, air wave. Zaku shot a blast of air towards Naruto. Naruto pulled out his sword, surrounding it with wind, and sliced through, splitting the attack between him. What? How did you do that? Easy. You shot compressed air at me. I sharpened the wind around my blade and concentrated the attack in the middle of yours, Naruto explained, using the hilt of his sword to block the senbons thrown by Kin. Naruto sheaths his sword and charges Kin. The kunoichi readied her senbons, but Naruto disappeared from her sight. Naruto appeared, and karate chopped the girl on the back of the neck, grabbing her and setting her down. That's one. Dosu charged the blonde with impressive speed, pulling up his sleeve and revealing his gauntlet. See if you can block this, Dosa said as he swiped at Naruto. Wind veil, Naruto said as he swiped his hand while it was covered in wind, disrupting Dosa's attack. Dosu was shocked because there weren't many people who could defend against his attacks. Naruto saw an opening, cocked back his fist, and surrounded it with wind. Wind style, rising dragon. Naruto uppercut Dosu, sending him in the air. He jumped up and grabbed his body. "What are you doing?" Dosu asked. Naruto answered by turning him upside down, and Naruto wrapped his legs around Dosu's neck, grabbing his legs. Lightning armor. The wind disappeared from Naruto's body, and now he was surrounded by blue lightning. Liger dive. Naruto charged towards the ground at lightning speed. Dosu's head aimed towards the ground. Zaku panicked. He put his hand to the ground and tried to save his teammate by softening the ground, but because of the lightning, he was too slow. Naruto pile-drived the sound knee into the ground, creating a huge explosion. The attack created a dust cloud, blinding everyone because of the dust. Naruto walked into the clearing, dusting himself off and deactivating his armor. "What happened to Dosu?" Zaku asked as the dust cleared. See Dosu fried legs sticking out the ground. "You killed him." "On accident. He had some metal in his body which amplified my lightning," Naruto said with a little guilt. "But that's what happened in the life of a ninja," Naruto said, walking towards Zaku. "Now your scroll, unless..." Naruto paused when he felt dark chakra from behind him. Everyone turned to the source and saw Sasuke standing up, having marks over his body. "Sasuke, you're all right." Sakura cheered, but sto, when she felt the dark chakra. "Sasuke?" "Sakura, who did this to you?" Sasuke asked in a cold tone. "What happened to you?" Sakura asked her teammate. "This power feels amazing. He gave it to me. Made me realize my purpose. I'm an Avenger, and I'll do anything to accomplish my goal," Sasuke said, smirking at his strength. "Now Sakura, who did this?" "That would be me," Zaku said, feeling excited that he can kill the Uchiha to make up for Dosu's death. Sasuke turned to Zaku and glared at him before going through some hand signs. Fire style, Phoenix Flower Jutsu. Sasuke shot multiple fire pellets at Zaku, but Zaku countered it with his airwave, blowing the flames. "That's all, huh?" Zaku asked, shocked when shurikens came out the fire. He was bombarded by the weapons and didn't notice Sasuke appeared behind, grabbing his arms and planting his foot on his back. What are you doing?" "You seem to like these arms of yours. You're really attached to them," Sasuke said, pulling Zaku's arms. Sasuke gave his arms one last pull, and Zaku's arms snapped. Zaku began to scream in pain as Sasuke giggled evilly. In a nearby bush, Team 10 was surprised that Sasuke would do something so cruel, especially Ino. "What happened to you, Sasuke-kun?" Naruto narrowed his eyes. He knew the Uchiha was an ass, but this was just evil. "Uchiha, are you okay?" Sasuke turned to Naruto with a challenging smirk. "Namikaze, you are the perfect test dummy for my new power." Naruto narrowed his eyes, and they turned red with slits. "Uchiha, I just saved your teammates, and this is the thanks dash." Naruto was cut off when Sai appeared and hit the back of his kunai on Sasuke's neck, knocking him out. Naruto stopped Karuma's chakra flow and smiled at Sai. "Thanks, but you should have helped your teammates earlier." Sai's eyes widened. "He knew I was pretending. He's skilled." Naruto approached Dosu's body and grabbed the scroll. Naruto's eyes widened when he sensed danger. He did a backflip, dodging Niji's palm strike. "Namikaze-san, hand over your scrolls. You're surrounded," Niji ordered, getting in stance. Tintin jumped down next to Lee, glaring at Niji. "Niji, why did you attack him? He just saved Lee. Is it because of your beef with Kumo?" Naruto narrowed his eyes and was about to speak when a shadow attached to his. Naruto was confused until Team 10 came out. "Sorry, but we need your scroll as well," Shikamaru said, approaching the blonde. Niji smirked. "Shika, let him go. He just helped Sakura." Ino chased. Naruto turned to his fellow blonde and smiled at her, reassuringly. Naruto chuckled, confusing everyone. "Well, to answer your request, no. I'm not giving you my scroll. But I'll let you live if you let me go, but if you don't, you might die." Niji frowned. "And how would you accomplish that?" "With us, of course." The group looked up and saw Yujito and Fu on branches above us. "Naruto-kun, I found the scroll we need, so I win," Fu said, cheering. Naruto frowned and turned towards the Konoha genin. "It's your fault I lost," Naruto said in annoyance, glaring at Team 10. "If it wasn't for the blonde, I would kill you. Anyway, I would appreciate if you let Naruto-kun go," Yujito said, looking at Shikamaru. "And why should we listen to Kumo scum?" Niji asked in anger. Naruto was getting angry at the insults. "Yujito, Fu, let's give them a warning." The two nodded and flared their tenant's chakra as red chakra poured out of them. Sakura and Ino started to shiver at the pressure. Tintin slowly backed away with Lee and Niji started to sweat. Shikamaru released his jutsu and fell to his knees. What is this chakra? It feels dangerous. Shikamaru and Niji thought. Naruto smirks and tosses the extra scroll to Sakura. Take care, and next time you are in my way, you might not be so lucky. Naruto said as he and his team left. Tintin released her breath and glared at Niji. Why did you attack him? We have both the scrolls. Your grudge is going to get us killed. Tintin chased as she picked up Lee. Niji scowled and turned to Team 10. I appreciated the assistance, but we'll be on our way. Come on, Tintin. Niji jumped into the trees with Tintin following. It seems like we made it, Yujito said as they walked in the tower. Fu looked around the tower with a finger on her lip. So now what? Naruto looked at the wall and read the scripture. Look, it mentions heaven and earth. Maybe we should open them. Fu stepped forward and tossed the scrolls. When it opened, Killer Bee appeared. Yo nice fob you three. Your team is as fine as it could be. We be wrapped, making the kunoichi wind. What do we do now, sensei? Naruto asked. Bee folded his arms. From what I know, the next stage you'll have 4 days to go. It'll be one-on-one and tons of fun. Try your best and beat the rest. Killer Bee said before poofing away. So a tournament-style fighting match, Naruto said with excitement. Yujito folded her arms with a smile. I can get behind that. Hopefully there'll be some challenging fighters. But what should we do in the meantime? Fu asked. Well, we can go for a bath, Yujito answered. Naruto blushed at the idea, but Fu grabbed his arms with excitement. That's a great idea, a voice said. The group turned around and saw another Yujito with a redhead with glasses. Naruto looked confused and turned to Yujito, who had a smirk on her face. Surprise, Yujito said as the one by the new girl disappeared. Meet Karen Uzumaki. Naruto's eyes widened, and he turned to Karen. Uzumaki. Karen smiled and nodded. Yes, I was told that you were part Uzumaki. I found her in the forest after her teammates were killed by a bear, Yujito said. Karen nodded and approached the blonde, hugging him. She gasped when she felt his chakra and tried to hold back a moan. His chakra feels incredible, so warm. It's making my body heat up, Karen thought, not knowing that Yujito and Fu saw the reaction and smirked. Hiruzen was in a meeting with the council, preparing for the preliminary round of the Chunin exam. What are the results of the second exam phase, Hokage-sama? Hayashi asked. All of the Genin teams from Konoha made it, though Team 7 ran into my former student who seemed to be interested in Sasuke. Hiruzen said, I was planning on calling back Jiraiya to reinforce our defenses. The council nodded at this. What about Namikaze-sama? Mabuki asked. Were you able to make contact with him? I have, and he prefers to stay in Kumo. He's happy there and has some lovers, Hiruzen answered. What if we form a political marriage and use him as a liaison? Hamura asked. Is there anyone he could be interested in? Hiruzen rubbed his chin. Well, there's only 2 girls he was close to. I am from Ichiraku's and Anko Mitarashi. In order for this to work, he needs to grow close to someone. At the remark, Hayashi, Sum, and Inoichi glanced at each other, all 3 having daughters and from clans. Maybe they could salvage this. Naruto and team were walking around the tower, exploring while waiting for Samui and the rest. But as they walked around, they were confronted by the Suna team. Yujito was on Naruto's left, smirking with her arms folded under her breast, and Fu was on his right, arms behind her back with an innocent smile. Naruto had his hands in his pocket, eyeing the 3 with a small smile. Why am I not surprised you made it? Naruto asked. Gaara was glaring at Fu, Kankuro was glaring at Naruto, and Temari was eyeing the 3 cautiously. We would have got here first if the girl didn't take our scroll, Kankuro said, pointing at Fu, making the girl giggle. You better watch out. You don't know who you are messing with. You don't want to mess with Gaara, or he'll kill you. Naruto chuckled before disappearing and appearing next to Gaara with his arm resting on Gaara's shoulders, shocking the 3. Really? What's so dangerous about you anyway? You look like you could use a friend. Temari just stared at Naruto, wary as he talked to her brother. Both the girl and Namikaze can get past Gaara defenses with little effort. It's right to assume that the blonde girl could as well. This is bad. If they work together with Konoha when the invasion starts, we're done for. Especially if they can harness their demon's powers. Gaara turned to Naruto, irritably. Let go of me, Gaara said coldly as his gourd began to shake. Naruto noticed this and smirked. He grabbed Gaara's face and turned his eyes towards him. Gaara froze when he saw that Naruto's eyes were crimson and slit. Behave, and we won't have a problem, you got it? Naruto ordered in a beastly tone. Kankuro and Temari backed up, nervously. Gaara Gord stopped shaking, and he sweated a bit. Fu and Yujito just smiled at their leader. Naruto stopped drawing on Kuruma's chakra and walked back towards his team. We'll see the next round, but I think we should be friends. If you want, I can tighten the seal around Shikaku, so that way he won't annoy you. Give me an answer later. Gaara was stunned and unsure what to do. Shikaku didn't have a say for once, since any bad choice he made could cause him to fight 3 of his siblings, and one of them being Kuruma. Naruto was standing in a row full of Genins, waiting for Hiruzen to begin. Now that all participants are here, we may begin. Since there's too many of you, we'll host preliminaries to decide who goes to the final round. For those who don't make it, will not be promoted, and for those who do, won't be guaranteed. All of you could be promoted, or none of you might. Now pay attention, Anko said, pressing a remote, causing a huge monitor to appear. You each are fighting in front of our leader, and you will do your best to not embarrass our village. If you have any questions, speak now. Can we just get on with it? Gaara said impatiently. What if we're paired against our teammates? Do we have to fight them? Sakura asked. We'll leave that up to the fighters. Hate said. I'll be the proctor for the second part of the exam. Now if you turn to the monitor, you see the 2 people that'll face each other, but if anyone wants to surrender, now's your chance. I want to forfeit, Kabuto said, raising his hand. I'm exhausted. Then you may take your leave, Hiruzen said. Now if you pay attention to the screen, you'll be presented with your first match and the 2 who will be facing each other, as the screen randomized some names. Yujito Ni versus Yoroi Akato. Everyone went to the top, but Naruto, Yujito, and Yoroi. Naruto approached his fellow blonde Jinchuriki, grabbing her hand. Good luck, Yujito-chan, he said with a warm smile. Yujito smiled and gave him a hug before he went to the top and met up with Fo. Are you done? Yujito turned to Yoroi, who was glaring at Yujito. Yujito just smirks. In a hurry to lose? Don't worry, you'll get your wish. Hate looked at the 2 and nodded. If both of you are ready, you may begin, the Chunin said before jumping back. Yoroi rushed Yujito with his palm glowing blue, reaching for Yujito. Yujito narrowed eyes and flipped backwards, dodging the grab. Yoroi chuckled at the play. What's the matter? You realized you can't defeat me? Yujito scoffed and smirked. And what kind of idiot would let themselves get hit by an unknown attack? Yujito turned her gaze to his palm. Let's see, from what I'm sensing. There's no poison in the jutsu, and not a lot of chakra coming out of his hands. From what I'm feeling, it's like he's drawing chakra towards himself the way the flow is moving. Chakra absorption? This match is mine. Yujito smiled. Yoroi glared at the 2-tailed Jinchuriki. What's so funny? I just realized a couple ways on how to beat you, but one way will kill you. So I go for Option 2, Scourge Style, Burning Prison. Yujito put her hands together, and the 2 were surrounded by a bluish-orange fire dome, causing everyone to sweat. Naruto pulled out some seals and gave them to the Kumo team. He behind. Anko turned to him as she saw him throw her a seal. Put this on. She did as instructed, and the Kumo Nins followed. Anko's eyes widened when she felt a gentle hit her body. What's this? Cooling seals. I made this just in case we would be caught up in a heated area. Naruto answered, earning a kiss on the cheek from his sensei. Very thoughtful of you, Naruto-kun. You will be showing me later how you came up with this. Naruto nodded with a blush. All the others in the room were looking at them with jealousy, either because they wanted a seal or, in the men's case, they wished they were Naruto. I'm impressed that the girl has the Scorch bloodline. Wasn't there a Jonin in Suna that had a similar ability? Temari asked. Baki didn't say anything. He remembered his former student that never returned because of the Kazakage's orders. What's this? Yoroi asked. I guess I'll be nice and tell you. The fire that surrounds us will drain all the water out of your body unless you defeat me, Yujito said, smirking at the terrifying look in Yoroi's face. Also because I'm nice, I'll tell you one more thing. The more you move, the more you sweat, and the faster the effect. Yoroi charged the girl, rushing to end this. Yujito grabbed his wrist, then kneed him in the stomach. I wouldn't drain my chakra if I was you. It'll hurt you more than it will help you. Yujito slammed him on his back, making him cough. She placed her palm on his chest and started to burn him, making him scream, "Surrender or die." Fine, I surrender," Yoroi shouted. Hate nodded. Asterisk cough. The winner is Yujito Ni. Yujito nodded and deactivated her jutsu before proceeding to the stairs. She approached her fellow Kumonin, who smiled at her. "Congrats. It'll be uncool if you would have lost," Samui said. Yujito smiled at the girl. "At least you didn't lose and embarrassed us," Karui said, folding her arms. "But, good job. I knew you loved me," Yujito responded before being hugged by Fu. "Congratulations, I'm happy you won. I always believe in you," Fu said, rubbing her cheeks with her fellow female Jinchuriki. Fu releases Yujito as Naruto high-five his fellow blonde. "I never doubted you," Naruto said, still holding her hand. "May I ask for a reward?" Yujito with a sly smirk. Naruto smiled and lifted her chin before connecting their lips together, prompting Yujito to wrap her arms around Naruto's neck. Yujito licked her lips and smiled. "Better than fish." "All right, everyone. Look at the board to see who will be fighting next," Hate instructed. Sasuke Uchiha versus Ino Yamanaka. Sasuke smirked at the easy win, while Ino looked at her crush in fear. What is she going to do?